When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.
My goodness, people, nothing gets me fired up like that video does. I'll tell you what, I am tired and I'm like been doing tons of work and all that stuff, but nothing gets me fired up like that. It is such a pleasure to have that back with us and to have all of you back with us as we welcome everyone back to the continuation of Esper Genesis. And believe it or not, it has actually only been a month since we played last. It's just that it's been a full month because the last time we played was February 28th, and then a variety of things, including our own version of the slow-moving apocalypse, came upon us in what must feel like the longest month of all recorded time. Like, March feels like 6 months to me, I swear. But we've gotten through it. April 1st is tomorrow, and that's not April Fool's. And so it's my great pleasure to welcome everybody to day 40 of Esper Genesis Viral Fallout. This is sponsored, as always, by Alligator Alley Entertainment, and it's our great pleasure to have everybody here. And I'm very excited to have everyone with us and joining us for this show. And I apologize for those of you who got this weird thing that was talking about what I streamed earlier today, because I'm tired and I forgot to change the stream title, so my bad. But yes, I'm sorry about that. But I've already said this before, so I don't need to repeat this too much. I just wanted to say, if you haven't already done so, please make sure, oh my God, Rude, no, that would be awful. Please make sure, if you haven't done so already, to follow the channel, check out the YouTube with !ArvTube, the Twitter with !ArvTweets. Check out the Discord, where you can hang out with your Arvanauts in between streams with !ArvCord, and really do take advantage of that, by the way, because there's people there, and people are always able to have various conversations. We have channels about music, channels about spoilers, so various movies and TV shows. We have channels about politics if you want to have a safe place where you can kind of spout off about that. We have, of course, our general channel. We have, specific channels for people's edification and enjoyment. We've got 200 people over there. So always feel free to jump on there, especially these days. It's important. As much as we need to be socially distant, it's really important. It's really kind of an unfortunate term. We really need to be not socially distant. We need to be personally, physically distant. That's incredibly important for health at the moment. But in a way, we need to be socially reaching out to each other, even in virtual terms. So please make sure to do that if you haven't done so already. Hello, Mrs. Dunn. So good to see you. And also, hi, Coven Guy. On the financial side of things, again, website for that is arvinelaron.com. On the financial side of things, !Arv Shop is where you can get merchandise for the Infinity and Beyond crew, and soon to be, and also the Adventures in Middle Earth crew, I should say, and then soon to be Esper Genesis. We're going to get some material up there as well, which is going to be cool. So that's that. We also have !Arv Treon, which is the Patreon, which is currently sitting at 313. Would love to see that go north of 350 and onwards. Cool stuff for you that you can get. Cool stuff you can get for the channel. And of course, inspirations for the players. And you can also get inspirations for the players by subscribing to the channel at the proper tier, at a high enough tier. And you can also then get emotes to use. That supports the channel and helps you. And I do want to say for subscribers, I've been teasing this for a bit. You've got some new stuff coming your way, people. And it's going to be debuted in April, and you are not going to want to miss it because, oh man, I don't want to spoil it, but there's some great stuff coming down the pike artistically for all of you. So just to keep that in mind, that's going to be coming. And then last, the publishing stuff. !Grayshade KS is the Grayshade Kickstarter, which is currently on hold because of everything that's happening, but it will come. It's just going to be coming later than we had originally expected, so bear with us. Library is the Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, published by our publisher, by our sponsor here, Alligator Alley Entertainment. I'm going to say more about them in just a moment. And then the last thing is Icarus for pre-ordering a copy of my Icarus and Jelinek graphic novels. That's going to be out in May. Again, so excited about how great the art looks and everything else. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited about that and how good that it is looking. Now, schedule-wise, we've got Esper Genesis for tonight. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have the return of Community D&D with the Shadow crew. We have Shadowed Mage, of course, GMing for Hoodie, for Rock God, and for Echo Alpha X5. This group has many plans, but one of the things, of course, they're going to discuss is something I haven't had a chance to discuss on this particular show. In fact, I think this is the last one of the shows that I haven't had a chance to talk to this about. So I will say, where's my webcam? There we go. Hi, everyone. So I just want to mention that this will be a chance for everyone to mention again the debt that we have towards Kilobyte. Kilobyte, who, as we know, was a wonderful mod and a friend of the channel, personal friend of mine, and someone that many of you felt open and connected to speaking to, was also very talented in terms of technology and in putting together things like that amazing video you just watched. That intro video, along with most of the others, along with most of the overlays you see, along with a lot of the emotes that you see, all of those were done by Kilobyte. And as those of you know, who have watched the channel for a long time, Kilobyte sadly passed away a few weeks ago at the age of 39 from complications from diabetes. We sent flowers to him. The Arvanaut community did. That was spearheaded by Shadowed Mage, which I really appreciate. But I did want to take a moment to note again his contribution and how much he is missed. And again, we will be sponsoring ArvCon this year, and I have no idea what ArvCon is going to look like, quite honestly, because of everything that's happening. But ArvCon is going to benefit diabetes research. I have a couple of possible foundations that I'm coming close to narrowing it down to, although honestly, at the moment, I'm just trying to get work done, but that will be happening. So anyway, much love to our departed friend Kilobyte, and they will have a chance to talk more about that tomorrow. Tomorrow is also the first day of April. It begins a new month. My guess is that this weekend is going to be fairly low-key. I'm guessing I'm going to finish up Operencia probably on Friday or Saturday, is what I'm thinking, and probably the sort of stuff in terms of role-playing stuff and, tabletop stuff and all that is going to commence next week in earnest. And so, just sort of keep out, keep on the lookout, see what's there. I don't have any conference travel to worry about, God knows, or any travel of any kind to worry about at the moment. So so I will be posting the schedule there, and please keep a lookout for that. If you love Esper Genesis, there's a lot of great role playing that we do on this channel, and I'm very proud to have all of those wonderful players and all of the various shows that we do as a part of that. So all of that is going to be coming to you in very short order. Now, the last thing that I want to mention has to do with one quick announcement that I wanted to make. We talked a little bit about Kilobyte, but I also want to make the announcement that we are going to be debuting 2 new things next month. The first of the new things, the new shows that we're going to be debuting, is a new show which is coming to us from Pyron Jade and Company. This is going to be for European friendly hours, and she is going to be premiering a show, which I have now, of course, completely lost the... Hold on a second. I'm going to find it because the name is important. I apparently have deleted it from my notepad because I really have got all of what I'm talking about together. There we go. War of the Burning Sky. So it's going to be a 5e compatible War of the Burning Sky. She will be announcing her cast for that shortly. That is going to happen once a month on my channel. That's going to be great. And that's going to be debuting next month. Also debuting next month, I am happy to say, I have just confirmed this, is, so you folks know that we have Emberwind that we do twice a month on this channel. On alternate days, so basically Emberwind is always every other Monday. On alternate Mondays, I'm happy to announce that we are going to be debuting a new show starring your friend and mine, Sod, playing Gromnir Grumblehammer in Sword Coast Legends. Sod did this kind of because it was a last-minute emergency cancellation, and people really liked it. And it's not something that I can usually fill in for because I'm teaching usually on Mondays, and so it's not something that I can do. And I was, but everyone was like, wow, that was great, and can we do this, and blah, 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 blah. And I said yes. So Sod is going to be playing that on Monday nights, which is going to be great. Yes, Lone Wolf, Pyron Jade is going to be DMing this event, which is DMing the one that's there. So that's going to be really great. As far as the status on Hearts of Wulin, I have to reach out again to Lowell. The players all want to play. This is just a matter of the DM having time. And so I was planning to reach out, but I wanted to wait a little bit because obviously, we're kind of in a weird state at the moment with things in the world. So, but that's what we've got that's going on today. Last note: we will be playing today until midnight Eastern. We're not going to be going longer than that because I have committee meetings tomorrow and I have to get some sleep at some point in my life. So we have to do that for tomorrow. But as I say, we'll be back to you tomorrow night with Community D&D, and then on Friday and Saturday, probably finishing up Operencia, and then looking forward to the next amazing adventure, which probably will be Detroit Become Human. I'm probably going to finish that before going into what I think probably will be Kingdoms of Amalur. So that's what we've got planned up for now. But that is going to do it for me for the moment, for my little introduction. So I'm going to unmute myself where the players have been patiently waiting. And then I'm going to unmute them. And now we're going to head over to...
Don't do it.
There it is.
God damn it.
You
You did it.
You see the people. I did it. Yep. I knew it was going to happen. We have a full crew, as you can see, a full crew of, I will not say happy people, but I will say a group of very happy to be with each other people. I think I can speak for them on that. And it is my great pleasure to welcome the crew back. It really is good to see them. And I'm going to start by introducing the gentleman all the way to the left. Johnny, I'm not even going to ask how are you doing, because I know that it's an odd thing to ask these days. But I guess what I will ask instead is, how are you feeling about this evening, and how are you feeling about, how are you surviving thus far? Let me put it that way without going.
With copious amounts of work. That is the only way to survive. And that's changing a little bit, but thankfully there's other work to be done. And actually, I am really just happy to be here. We were just talking about the fact that having been a month, we were left with situations that were completely screwed up, and now we have to figure them all out. Last session was was really aggressive, like on the 1, 2, 3 punch. So I think it's time for us to counter.
Yes,
just a little bit.
Yes, it will be interesting to see how that all gets played out. When you do counter it, who will you be playing, sir?
Eeyore with a flask.
Eoramus is his real name.
There you go. That's it.
The
You were
enormous,
Flash.
enormous. Oh my god.
You
Yes.
probably will not survive the long winter.
That was wait, Johnny. I didn't know.
I'm rather
When
attached
did you
to it.
move to New York.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Oh,
God, that's
sigh.
her. Yeah. So Aramis,
Give me my
Ashton
fan
Ford
art,
Mulder.
people. Give me my fan art right now.
Oh,
Yes, give us fan
All
art
of
so we
us.
can put it on a T-shirt.
all of us as Winnie the
Yeah.
Pooh characters.
Well, no. You know who that you know who that obviously makes sleep well, right? There's
The
only
wonderful
one
thing about
answer.
Sleepwell.
You are Tigger. Yeah, I mean, there's no
Yes.
question about it. You're literally Tigger. The wonderful thing about Sleepwell. This is Sleepwell's a wonderful thing.
That's funny.
But in all seriousness, besides being here with a flask, you're also known as, AKA Johnny.
Aramis, the Ashton Forge Mulder, who's really pissed right now.
Yes, who's really angry. This all fits together narratively with everything. So that'll be good. I am very excited to have Aramis and Johnny playing him back with us. It's also a great pleasure to have Kat Rambo back with us. Back in her appropriate spot. Kat, it's good to see you. And I guess the same question: How are you holding out? How are you surviving through this? And who are you playing?
Well, in some ways, my existence is not that different because I've always worked at home, but it is driving me a little nuts not to be able to go out and chat with people because talking to folks, my husband laughs at me because I talk to the barista and the clerks and everybody around me.
Yep.
And there's nobody well, the thing I've been doing is actually doing these co-working sessions through my Discord server and Patreon, and we all log on together through Zoom, and we do 30-minute quiet sprints, and everybody checks in and says what they're working on. And we have, I think sometimes we had one a couple afternoons ago that was 12 people.
Wow, that's a great idea.
It was really nice.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
So who am I playing? I'm playing Petra Sinis, an Ashen Forge Sentinel, a woman with a very large axe, a mysterious ability
Hammer.
to. Sorry,
It's been a while.
Line,
I mean,
hammer.
The background
Plays it
writers
too,
for
but-
Esper Genesis erase entire sentences. It's an axe.
No, right now. So right now it's a hammer. She has a mysterious affinity for machines and a very irritating former acquaintance named Tesora Markle, who I'm pretty sure got us all into this somehow and is responsible.
That is very
What
reasonable
Winnie
to
the Pooh
say.
character are you?
What?
And what Winnie the Pooh character are you?
True, yeah.
I don't know. I've been trying to, there's a kind of limited range.
Right.
Maybe I kind of want to say Kanga, but Kanga's
I was
the
gonna
only
say.
female character, and it's sort of irritating that she's the only female character. I am a rogue Winnie the Pooh character that has been off stage until this time.
The Ashen Forge that was revealed.
Yes.
Unfinished manuscript.
You're from the other side of the toy chest, as it were.
That's it. The other side of the toy chest.
So to speak. Well, it is a great pleasure to have Kat with us, as always, and it is a great pleasure as well to have Carlos with us. Carlos, who is not coming from his home base, actually. He is. This has got to be for you like a chance to write the new, trapped in, like, name the place. You know what I mean? Like, this has got to be a new, like, the subject of a memoir, or like, my life with the plague. The plague also rises, or something. How have you been surviving all of this, Carlos, and who are you playing? Uh-oh. He froze.
Oh, he's in permanent smile.
Permanent smile. He's like, that was really great.
But at least he froze with like a really sweet,
Yeah.
pleasant expression
Yeah.
instead of, like sometimes people freeze and they're like,
Right, exactly.
Oh, there he
He's
is.
back.
There I am.
Hi.
I think I'm back.
You froze with a smile, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that you're like, I'll just."
That was
smile.
my death rictus, So,
Yeah. So, how are you
no,
surviving? And who are you playing?
Yeah. So, surviving well. I'm sojourning here in an undisclosed location in Phoenix, Arizona, on the corner of Dunlop and 39th Street. And this is where my wife's side of the family lives, and we're very happily coexisting here so far. Day 2, but we'll see. No, I think we're having a great time here so far. One of the things that I've done to kind of contribute back is I made a video on YouTube that is a creative writing lesson for kids from 4th to 7th grade. I figured. A lot of people suddenly have kids at home and they are homeschooling and just trying to, have their kids learn something. So I started like a mini web series called Volcanic Writing, and put the first episode out. Yeah, exactly. The cover page is somebody photoshopped me shooting my ass out of a volcano. So it's
Of course they did.
yeah. I mean, they didn't Photoshop it. It was just a picture.
It was an actual event.
Right. Exactly. Part of my memoir that I'll be talking about in my journal, The Plague Year. But sorry I went dark.
Did you just try to clap on the lights?
It does. This is how the room works. It has the clapper here.
And of course,
So
the time you try
occasionally
it doesn't work.
Right.
He said this, and I'm like, did you just clap on the lights?
Yeah. No.
As seen on TV.
It's really not working now.
And welcome, and then this is how Carlos enters a zombie apocalypse. This is
Right.
like other,
Exactly.
The
Seriously,
failure of the
it
clapper.
looks
yeah,
so
we're
like
suddenly in one of those like
reality TV.
escape rooms or
So,
something.
Cabinet.
I tried tapping the cabinet. This is my mother-in-law. Everybody, this is Sita.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
And-
Welcome to Esper Genesis.
Yes, you're now in the future.
Oh, that's funny.
So I was banging on the side there, and apparently this is gonna happen like all night long because it's a hilarious.
Clap.
I did do 2 claps. But so like in other news, look at this thing.
What
This
is that?
This is.
Oh,
a
is that one
lyric-
of those? Like, no, continue, please.
Yeah,
You have-
yeah, it's called a lira, and so it's just a hoop. So my sister-in-law is like a very gymnastic performer. Like she has a goal of being in Cirque du Soleil, and so before we got on here and stuff, she was like doing hoop exercises, and
Wow.
so I've nearly killed myself 14 times on it so far. And we're going for 15 tomorrow, so it's exciting here, having a good time.
I
That's
can
great.
think of nothing more on brand, Carlos, than for you to be in a house with someone who wants to be a Cirque du Soleil performer. Can I just say that nothing better fits my image of you? Most people are like, zombie apocalypse in the 3rd day. Meanwhile, montage, Carlos with Cirque du Soleil people in hoops and like, doing the clapper when the lights go off. Oh my God. Who are you playing today, Carlos?
So one thing I want to say to the
Oh, yes,
gang out
please,
here
sorry.
is that I don't have my character sheets and rule books and stuff with me. It's all still in the apartment in New York. So I'm going to be doing my best to keep up at seriously, Greg, I don't remember exactly which powers I've used and things like that. So we're going to just do the best we can with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, generally speaking, Ludicrous Sleepwell, the character I'm playing, he is almost omnipotent, if I'm remembering correctly. Basically he wields vast cosmic powers, and
Yep.
the only thing that keeps his wild nature in check is his deep and abiding friendship with Aramis.
Yes.
Yes. This is.
I'm sorry. I'm getting sick here. I think I'm going to have to go to the hospital. Did
I
you
have
just
to-
call me a friend?
This is like I have to say that the apparently everyone's new favorite word is aspirational, so we'll just put that in the category of aspirational role playing, what we wish our character could be and actually do. But it's a great pleasure to have Carlos back with us, and it's also, of course, a great pleasure to have Zac back with us. Although Zac and I were seen most recently solving a time puzzle in which we
Yes.
apparently gave 2 hours of our lives to a game. Like
Yes,
literally,
we
that was the
did.
point. That was reflected. But Zac, it's good to see you. How you did? I guess I know how you're surviving. It's by playing co-op games. How have you? No, actually, what you've been playing a lot of is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is quite
That's true.
literally a post-apocalyptic dystopian
Yeah.
game where you fight machines. So
Yes.
I'm just
I
saying.
have prepared for both dualities.
Yeah, you are good to go.
I have prepared for this game and the real world at the same time.
How have you been, and who are you playing?
I've been doing okay. I've been doing good. Kind of like Miss Rambo. My life, aside from teaching at the middle school and the high school, which obviously is not happening now, because in a way it's kind of funny bringing up Cirque du Soleil, because the way I've had to explain to people, people know that I teach at a middle school and high school, and they're like, oh, are you doing online stuff? I'm like, well, what I specifically taught was a performance group. So it's like, okay, would Cirque du Soleil performers get in a Zoom chat and be like, okay, guys, let's rehearse the show?
Right.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So while that's not happening, it's actually the silver lining, I guess, of all of this stuff going on has been it's given me more time to put my energy into content creation and really start to figure out that I want to push myself more in the D&D and tabletop community. I want to get more into streaming and start making YouTube stuff. So it's actually kind of I've been able to like sit down and buckle up and do the stuff I've been waiting to do since waiting for the summer. But I did not expect it at the expense of everything that's going on in the world, unfortunately. So I'm doing okay. I have plans. I have things keeping me busy and keeping me going. And I take walks every day, social distancing though. And today on Esper Genesis, I will be playing Cosmeritis, otherwise known as Starboy, who is a Bellare, which is a star being. And he is a sniper, a mercenary, a somewhat sarcastic and comical friend of everyone, and enemy to some.
Enemy to a few. But those few, boy. It is good to see everybody, though. And chat, let us get right into it. I will remind chat, since I've seen chat's been talking about it, that it is March 31st, and that means that all of our inspirations reset tomorrow. So there is no tomorrow, as they say. So burn them if you got them, right? If you've got inspirations, I'm sure the players here are going to be really, really, no, we want to win the right way. No, they want your inspirations like water, definitely, I think. So you should feel free to throw those out there. And again, in case people are curious, if you want to know how you can get on this inspiration fund, if you support the Patreon at the $10 level or above, or if you support by subscribing at the tier 2 level or above, you get an inspiration, and if you do both of those things, you get 2, which you can use to inspire the players, which means that they roll twice on a given ability check or attack roll or saving throw, and they take the higher of the 2 results. And I'm here to tell you that Cosmeritis is here talking to you all because one such inspiration saved him when he was down some sessions ago. So this has literally saved lives. This has literally saved the lives of characters. So feel free to throw that inspiration out there. And Echo Alpha has inspired, right off the bat, has inspired Cat Rambo, who I'm sure will happily give that right to Petra as that inspiration happens. Thank you, Echo. So, Coven Guy once. Yes, Kaz was down a lot. That's true. Kaz was injured a bunch. That's true.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit about...
piglet of the group.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah, what are you? You'd be the piglet? Yeah?
I guess so. I'd be Piglet.
Because I was wondering, like, would you be you wouldn't be the rabbit. Maybe owl? Could you be like the sort of... I don't know.
Maybe Petra's like owl, actually.
Petra
I
could be like owl.
Actually,
Yeah.
Owl is, I had forgotten about Owl.
Yeah.
I would gladly accept Owl as my...
And then Arv is Christopher Robin.
There we go.
Oh, listen, there are worse things to be. Now we need to do the Wood to the Willows comparisons next time. So I'm all that. But all right, let's get underway, folks. Yes.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
That's an obvious choice right there. Mr. Toad would definitely do sleep well.
Oh,
Just
yes.
saying.
Oh, that's 100% the case. I totally agree. And I would imagine that actually probably Petra is Badger in that situation, right? Probably? No?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Badger.
maybe.
I like Badger.
I mean, I like all of them. My favorite is Rat, Water Rat, but I, it's fine. I can't believe that we're actually having this discussion. This is completely my fault, and I will move on from it. But it is a great book. I'm actually reading it to my son now, and who not quite 4 is not quite able to get some of it. But I'm just coming up to, if chat has not read this book, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which is so good that it almost makes, there's 2 chapters in that book, that one and Wayfarer's All. Those 2 chapters are extraordinarily good and are so good that they rise above the level of the rest of it. I mean, the book's fun and the book's a good kid's book. Those 2 chapters are way more than just, and I don't mean just a kid's book. I mean, there's a certain kind of rhythm to the rest of the prose that's really lovely writing, but that writing is like at another level. It's really, really good. So I highly recommend it if people. It's also a very gentle book, and that's a nice book these days. It's kind of there's a lot of kindness in that book that I appreciate. And I'm not going to talk anymore about Wind of the Willows because we have to talk about our adventure. In our last session, the players, the characters who have made their way into this Sector 77, I believe,
Yes.
which is the sector that was destroyed on Earth some 20 years before. It is a sector below Central Park that was, or what used to be known as Old Central Park, that was destroyed in some kind of technological accident. And the party has gone there because this pulse emitter has been firing out to at the moment, limited range around Earth, but it's getting stronger and stronger all the time. This pulse emitter, which is basically shooting out the cyber virus known as the Long Winter. This is something which almost killed the party the first time they encountered it. It is extraordinarily deadly and dangerous, and it threatens the entire Silrain arc if it were to infect more ships and things of that nature. And you have no idea how much I had to alter tweets about this beforehand, so I didn't keep talking about viruses a lot. But it was sort of hard because the whole thing is called Viral Fallout for a reason. Anyway, so the party has made its way into Sector 77, and they found their way with the help of some characters along them, including characters like Bastion, a badly injured AI, who was previously a medical droid that helped them to get a little bit further along their path. The bartender of Sector 77, who was kind of the Jilene, who's kind of the sort of de facto leader of the people that still survive down there. And, of course, the people who are sort of controlling the area that leads over this huge gulf, basically this huge valley that leads from one section to the other, which is guarded, or was guarded for a while, by this enormous mech called Otis and his owner.
Otis.
And all of those helped the party to get to this Roach Citadel, where supposedly the Roach Citadel leader, one General Blatt, has been holed up, and this is where the pulse transmitter signal has been coming from somewhere. But things have been difficult for the party in other respects. The tension has grown between, despite previous comments, between Aramis and Sleepwell. Petra continues to have these visions that are associated with AI, and she's not sure what this is about, but it's definitely had an impact on her. And Kaz himself has this concern that he too may have a possibly infected suit that may be associated with this in some way. And so all the party members, in one way or another, are dealing with personal issues at the same time that they're dealing with the overall party issue. And as we ended our last session, the party had managed to clear out a lot of this Roach Citadel, partially by using Kaz's handy-dandy new black hole creator, his black hole gun, so that helped. But they still had to find other things, a vehicle that was in this garage that had already apparently mostly driven out of the garage. The doors were left open to it. Another gang member that Sleepwell kind of was able to talk down, as I recall, from challenging them, although again there were people who were frustrated about that. And when the party had just come to the end of its last session, Sleepwell had sent one of his droids, one of his automatons out to be able to go and try to gather help and make sure that everyone back by the Gulf, including the bridgekeeper, who I cannot find for the life of me the note of what the heck the name of the bridgekeeper is. Does anyone happen to remember?
Bastion.
No, Bastion I thought was the... Oh, okay. Then I thought it was I thought the AI was Bastion. Maybe
No, that was
What AI?
the one that you met that was the medical droid.
Saren 5.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Saren 5. It is Bastion. Okay, yay, wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Bastion. But wanted to check on Bastion and on Otis. And when the party sent, when Sleepwell sent the automaton out, he saw the automaton walk out and then start to kind of stumble a little bit and then fall in front of Otis, which was also kind of swaying back and forth, and then landed on top of the automaton, after which there was a long and piercing and, in the sound of agony producing, scream coming from someone who sounded an awful lot like Bastion on the far side of the trench from where the party now stands in the Roach Citadel. And so as I hand things back over to the party, having given them this probably too quick summary, but I'm doing the best I can. The south of where they are has not yet been explored, nor has the eastern area of the room up to the north. And you still have not discovered where this pulse emitter is. But you also have, of course, whatever is happening outside. And so I will now, with having said all of that, hand this over to the party. What would you folks like to do?
I would like to put my back up against any semblance of cover that's left off of the sheared front of this building.
There's not a lot.
And do a little tactical turnaround and look out and see if there's some sort of a threat near where Otis just fell over.
Make a perception check for me, please.
Okie dokie. 23.
So you see on the other side of the ridge, you can see what looks like a couple of flashes of light, Kaz, and you think, although it's a little bit hard to hear, you hear what sounds like the as if there's some impact of things hitting against a wall. And by impact of things, I mean possibly laser shots or bullets. There's no, you know, pew, 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 pew. There's no sound like that you might expect to hear, but there definitely sounds like the impact of something hitting hard against a surface at such speed and velocity that, and and rapidity that you would assume you might be dealing with some kind of projectile.
Is that the source of that sound? Is that near where Bastion stands on the other side of the bridge?
Yep, roughly.
Okay.
And you can't see him, and you can't see anyone else. You just see these flashes of light, and you hear the sound that I just described.
So Otis fell down on our side of the bridge, and
Yes.
Saren 5 was under it. Is that what you said? Or
The automaton was on this,
Yeah,
was on
yeah,
this side of it.
Sleep
Saren
Wells.
5, I think, is still back by is
Yeah,
back over on the
Bastion.
other side, Bastion. Yeah,
okay, nothing on our side of the bridge, indicating what happened.
correct. And the bridge is a little bit of a distance from you. It's not. Remember, it's not right next to it. It's pretty close, you know, but it's not like right outside. It's a few hundred feet away from you.
I drew a line of sight line just to see if, just from my position here, I could see, because if I remember right, it should be in the general direction of where Bastion's cottage was.
Yeah, actually, it would be a little bit more straight ahead, actually, than where you are right now, Sleepwell.
Oh, okay.
It would be a little bit more straight up and down, because I should actually draw this. I really hate when this happens, so I will just chastise gently, Brian. This is south, which I hate when they do that. Oh, I can't believe I forgot this. This was the other thing I wanted to say. I'm sorry, just for one moment. This applies to us too in a more general sense. I wanted to say that Brian Dalrymple, who is the owner, of course, of one of the partners owning Alligator Alley Entertainment, his adventure game store has been closed in Florida by state order. And so they, unlike everybody, including along with everyone else, especially a lot of local game stores and so forth, they're hurting. And so he sent out requests for people to consider picking up gift cards and gift certificates from them. A lot of stores have been doing that they can either fulfill by mail, or when the store reopens, you'll be able to use that. So they give you like a discount now so that you can use it later on, both for online stuff and elsewhere. So I did want to suggest to everyone that if you want to be able to support and help out, the Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which features contributions from both Kat and Carlos, and which is my adventure, is published by them, and that also helps them. That's available right now on DriveThruRPG. It's coming out in print once the printer in Lithuania comes out of lockdown. But it is going to be coming out in print, and the proofs are already with them. But just, spare a thought for them if you're looking for something to sort of another way to give back and support. And again, everyone is tapped out, so this is not in any way a requirement. But I did want to highlight it because they do sponsor us, and Brian's a good guy, and all of us, I believe at this point, everyone but Zac has met them, right? I think everyone but Zac has met Brian at least, and maybe Rich and Eric and the fine folks from Alligator. I know Johnny did because he did the session with me, and I'm pretty sure Carlos did. And Kat, I think, got her book, and I think Kat got your book signed, didn't you? from?
I have. It's like my high school yearbook.
Yeah. That's right. So they signed it. So, and the only one who hasn't yet is Zach, because he hasn't, met them directly. But so please, everybody, just something else to think about. These folks do really good stuff, and Brian's a good guy. So
Actually,
so think about
I
that.
spoke to Brian briefly on Facebook last week, and he said that there was a possibility that they would be opening up enough to be able to do not only curbside delivery for
neat.
for anybody local, but also that he would do shipping.
Nice.
As long as the postal service was still operating, anybody wanted to buy anything, he would be able to ship it to them. So
That's a good idea, actually, and I that reminds me that Origins just released a new friendly local game store United States locator. So if you put this in, there's actually a network of about 500 stores that are associated with them, and if you put this into the little thing that's linked on the Origins convention website, you can actually find someone within, I forget what the radius is, that will do what Johnny just said, that will actually deliver to people. So that's an excellent idea. But again, and this is a problem for everyone, and there's many charities and many things to think about. So again, I don't want to make anyone, I'm not trying to guilt anybody. I'm just saying, if you were like, man, I wonder how they're doing, they're hanging in there, but it's going to be a struggle for everybody. So just something else to think about as we go through this. Okay, sorry about that. So yes, this is facing south. So it's pretty much, there's a slight angle, maybe even a little bit to the south, it would be west, slightly to the west of the door more than the east, but it's pretty straight ahead, Sleepwell. But you could, there's not much, that line that you're standing at is basically where the whole front was, stove in. So you could definitely just look out and be able to see from your vantage point pretty clearly the Otis lying on top of your automaton, the gulf beyond it, the bridge, and then the other stuff. Now, I don't know if you want to also see, I can have you do a perception check. Otherwise, Kaz, if you wish, you could tell them, like, hey, look at that.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
The moment after Kaz was looking through his scope, he turns around and says, I think Bastion's in trouble. I don't know what happened to Otis, but I think we should go.
Agreed.
Sounds good.
no time like the present.
Okay. How are you proceeding to the bridge? How are you going to try to do it? Are you just marching, running, stealthing? What are you trying to think about doing? And are you doing anything en route, like stopping at Otis or anything like that?
Well, do the lizard folk have any opinion about this?
Well, the lizard folk, that especially, you've noticed both, Kratos has been kind of down on this the whole time, but Layden, who is for those of you who don't remember, Layden is the sort of warlord, sort of the head of this whole group. Layden has been wanting you to explore more of the place from the beginning. And so as you're kind of looking outside and thinking about this, Layden, with her usual impassive stare, kind of shakes her head and says, "This isn't the way to do this. You go and you help him. This thing continues to go. This virus continues to spread. That's what got him." And she points at Otis. "It's what you got, and it's what got yours too, Sleepwell. This isn't going to stop if you leave." And Kratos just seems to be kind of anxious to he just wishes he were anywhere but here, quite obviously. But that's what Layden thinks.
Sorry, somebody took a breath to speak?
Yes, no, it's just me thinking.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not troubled by that. So, Sleepwell, instead, is just sort of kind of looks at later. It's just sort of yeah, that's exactly what you would do. Stick to the mission and just sacrifice everybody who's helped us. Bastion helped us before. It's the only reason we made it this far. Let's go after him.
And Layden nods and says, "That's fine. And if you if you go save him, how many people are you going to lose in the meantime, Sleepwell? Sometimes sacrifices have to happen. One has to die so that many can live. That's not the way I like it. I didn't like it anymore when my mate died, But there is the mission to think about."
Sure, you think about the mission. I'm gonna go save Bastion, and I'm already out the door with the 3 remaining constructs.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
What? As kind of like we see Petra reach out as Sleepwell's going out the door. And go, wait.
You could try to. I mean, you can try to stop him if you wish. Like, I mean, I assume you wouldn't like overbear him, but you could.
Grappling rules.
I'm not the kind to actually physically stop Sleepwell, but I will say, hang on, if you would, we'll just.
And Sleepwell does. He looks at Petra.
We don't know what's out there, and we see these. You said that the lights that they're shooting, and there's lights kind of that we can see evidence of the shots.
Yes. You do not hear what. I mean, actually, if you want, you can make a perception check to kind of pick up all of it. You see it now because Kaz pointed it out. But unless you make a successful perception check, you probably won't be able to hear the sort of faint, like the impact sounds that I was talking about. But again, Kaz could describe them to you. But you don't necessarily hear
It
those.
sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
16.
You have I would say occasionally you hear like maybe one of those. You know, you don't hear as many as Kaz does. But there's lights kind of flashing erratically. There has been no other screaming or no other shouting or nothing like that since the initial one that I referred to.
Well,
Can we identify like where they're shooting from? Kind of can we extrapolate backwards?
I don't think you can see it in that detail, except that it's going across your vision, not in your direction. They're clearly not firing at you. Whatever this is going on across the gulf on the other side of the bridge, like presumably fighting. If that is lasers, they're firing at each other, because you see the lights kind of erratically all in that area, and occasionally you see like little streaks as those lights happen, but they're not coming in your direction at all.
I do like people fighting each other instead of us. It's pleasant change. Zach's like, oh God.
I say we go help him. With how slowly we were going through this thing anyway.
Okay. Then we have consensus. Let's do it.
I look at Armus.
Do we have?
I don't know about consensus. Let's just. Anything is better than here.
Okay, let's do it.
And then so where is Sleepwell's hot rod?
Oh,
I don't remember.
I think
wasn't. Oh yeah, it wasn't. Tezora in it too. I think with us.
yes.
I don't know where. I think they might be back at Bastion's place.
Yeah, they are back. Tesora stayed with Bastion.
Right. That's right. And so, but the hot rod I think is still outside, and is just sort of there where you left it, more or less. Sleepwell.
Yeah, I think it's right by where Bastion was because we used it to cross the bridge, right? So
that's right.
Yeah,
but I think you drove it up to, as I recall,
The Citadel.
Kaz fired off the black hole creator, and then you drove up the hot rod, like not into the building, but basically.
right.
That was when you
just
decided
scooted
stealth was out the window at that point. So
Right.
might as well show up on a motorcycle.
Wait, in another universe, Kaz looks out across the bridge and is like, I guess this is a solution. Shoots the black hole gun at the Bastion.
Right? I mean, this is the Mad Max effect. Like black hole creator followed by, Sleepwell showing up on a motorcycle. Like, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
get in,
how-
nerds. We're saving the universe.
Exactly.
I guess as we're racing across the bridge and getting close to the hot rod, Kaz goes to look at it. How long would it take to cross the bridge?
Well, so the hot rod is on this side of the bridge.
Yeah.
So you'd be racing towards the hot rod and then over the bridge.
Yeah.
If you just sort of go straight there, you could probably close that gap in about 30 seconds at a dead run. Maybe
from where we are,
from
to
where you
Bastion,
are
or
to
from where we are. To
no,
the hot
from
rod?
where you are to the bike, which is on this side
Okay.
of the bridge. Then to get over the bridge, I mean, that's maybe 15, 20 seconds maybe. And
But-
from there, where Bastion was right on the other side of the bridge, although you can
Yeah.
see the other side of the bridge, and he is not there now. So
Yeah. And I think it was a car. Maybe I'm using my definition of hot rod is
Oh,
different.
I'm sorry. That's right. Was it like an open roofed car? I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I think
it
that's
was,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but I do
Anyway.
remember you
It's a
driving it over the bridge.
flying car.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
This is
I
the
assume
future.
we all hop in.
I'm not high enough level for the flying car. Sorry, it
Yes.
doesn't have wheels.
It's using Mr. Fusion for it. So.
Mhm.
Okay. So are you using the hot rod to get back over, or?
I think we are.
Okay. So, Sleepo, when you get to when all of you get to the car and you fire up the starter, nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Completely dead.
I had a
Sleep
feeling.
well.
And I just keep turning. It's like
Told me they
this thing is
fixed it.
powered by thorium. It's like it's half idea. It's not even like real in some ways. How could it not
Kaz
be?
has already hopped out of the car and is running across the bridge.
Okay. Yeah.
Move, move, move.
Okay. When you get across, when you sort of get halfway across, Kaz, you're now close enough to see that the lights now are much brighter. And you can see that there are more of them now. And now you are definitely close on the other side of the bridge to hear like, on either side. And you can see what you think are little chunks of masonry and stuff shooting out from the walls where clearly these lasers are impacting. There's a lot of them. And as you get to sort of the other side of the bridge and are kind of making your way, maybe just, I would say, maybe even 15 or 20 feet up. You may remember there was a slight slope down to the bridge and then across. So when you go up just a little bit of the slope, you can actually see that there is indeed basically a pitched battle that is going on. There seem to be two groups that are firing at each other across basically this gap. They've taken shelter behind rubble and crates and things like that, and they're basically firing at each other. And you can tell me if you want to try to see more details, but it's a little hard to see because it's already, as you know, somewhat dark down here. And then with this sort of light shooting up, it's kind of hard to see who's firing at which. I would refer everyone to the battle in episode 3, The Sin of the Mandalorian, where there is a big pitch battle just like this, and it's hard to see what's going on. Also, that means you get to watch The Mandalorian, which is, I think, one of the best new shows on television. That was free, Disney.
Yes.
So, anyway, I'm allowed to do that because Carlos is here, so it's fine.
That's
We have
fine. Yeah.
a built-in author. But yeah, so you see that sort of going back and forth, and there's definitely a pitch battle. They don't seem to be paying any attention to the bridge at all. They seem to be paying attention to each other. There's no sign as of yet of Bastion.
Have we seen actual people, or is this still just lights flashing? Do we not have the right angle yet?
You do think you see maybe like people that are like kind of peeking up from crates and then like, firing over the crates and then ducking their heads again. There are a couple of bodies on the ground as well that you can see. Only a couple, which based on like they're firing at a pretty decent distance from each other, so it would probably take some pretty good shots to be able to hit each other from that distance.
Have we reached Bastion's cottage, hovel, whatever that thing was?
Hey, Genly. At this point, I would say that you would have, yes. He's not outside of it. So, and again, you also, now that you cross, can see. Well, did you get out of the car?
Well,
Sleepo, and
we
run,
didn't.
or?
We didn't take. Or, yeah.
He was in it trying to start it. You jumped out of the car and ran, but I didn't know if the others were following you.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow after.
Okay. So if everyone's doing that, then if you're just going by foot, then you get over not long after Kaz does, and you see more or less the same things that I've described in the laser battle ahead of you. As for the hut, it is currently dark and silent, and Bastion is not outside of it.
And is this firefight going on near his building? Is it like just on the other side of his building, or is it
No,
across
it's
the
a
way,
little
or-
farther away. I mean, it's pretty close to his building, but it's kind of because his building is really close to the bridge and near the sort of valley, or the kind of the gorge, basically. Whereas you folks are, the firefight is a little bit farther beyond that, kind of more firing across like the main road that you may remember leads down to where the bar was, and all that kind of stuff.
So at this point, I am gonna try to go into the hut.
Okay. So when you actually get, when you walk down there, The door is closed, and it's kind of this. It looks like kind of a sort of a metal plasticine combination. It's not sort of a strange material of the front of this door, and it seems to be slightly crooked. And there is, you notice as you're looking at it, the handle. There's a regular handle in the front, and it seems to be a sliding door, and it's doing like trying to close and open again and close and open again.
So I look down to make sure Bastion's head isn't caught in the bottom of it.
Well, not his head, but
Oh.
something is caught in the bottom of it. You can't quite make out what, but it looks like there is something, presumably a limb of some kind, that is stuck between the door and the frame.
So while still protected by the door itself, I'm going to bang on it and say, Bastion, are you in there? Are you awake?
No response.
I yell over to the other folks. I think we got a casualty over here.
We all amble up. Does his place have windows?
There is one window that is facing the gorge, yes. It looks to be more like again, made of some kind of transparent plastic of some kind. And it has no openings that you can see, but it is a kind of window.
That's, as I approach the front, I see the situation Sleepwell's in front of, and remembering that I have probably the lowest strength of the entire group, I start making my way to that side window to flash a light in and take a look.
Okay.
After everyone else has
Okay.
decided what they're doing.
I was going to say, Petra and Aramis, what are you two doing?
Where is our massive brutish strength most needed? Clearly. Can we extricate Bastion? I mean,
Well, if it is Bastion, you would have to get that door to stop repeatedly trying to close on his leg, if that's what's down there that's blocking it. So if you can get it open, then you might be able to get it clear. But at the moment, it's sort of halfway. You can see now the foot, which is kind of, the leg is splayed at a somewhat unnatural angle, the foot relative to the leg. Yeah.
I'm going to try to catch it with my hand and stop the door from bouncing.
I would like you to make a strength check for me, please. If you have athletics, I'll take that.
What is this athletics thing? Let me just find the roll 20 window. Boy, I've missed doing that. 20. How's an 18 altogether?
So you grab it, and I would say that you're able to slow it, but it still is like, so you're kind of like holding on to it. And because it keeps hitting his leg, it's not closing all the way, so your hands are not hurt. You've slowed it down, but you haven't opened it yet. Or stopped it yet, I should say.
Aramis, you want to lend me a hand here?
Sure.
So I'll have you make a strength check as well for me, Aramis.
Not at advantage since I got like big brutish, lovely Petra helping me.
I appreciate the aspiration, but no, just a strength check, please.
Yeah, shit.
You're like
And there's
you
the
can't
rolls.
you can't quite get purchase. You know, you're like reaching around. You're like, I can't quite get my arms. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing a lot of good in slowing it down. And the leg is, incidentally, neither the leg nor whoever belongs to it is moving.
I'm going to have my 3 constructs that remain try to help.
Okay, so I will have you make a strength check for me, except I'm going to have you do this as a... Let me have you make a mechanics roll, actually, Sleepwell.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who needs an inspiration? It's a good question, Hilness. It's a target-rich environment for inspirations these days.
Yeah, not yet though. Please, we're gonna die later. Not now. So, So,
Aramis, that jar of pickles is really tough. Yeah.
That's funny.
Where's my flask?
That roll was funny.
So
yeah, 12.
what do you got? 12? Yeah. So it so you can see they too are having an effect. I mean, the door is starting to slow down. It's kind of surprisingly strong for what looks like just kind of a ramshackle hut. But then you do remember that Bastion was an engineer, and was a little bit of a paranoid engineer at that. And so the other thing I want to note, actually, Sleepwell, while we're looking at this, make another mechanics check for me, please. This is for something else that you notice as you're trying to get them to do it.
16?
Okay. These doors, like the classic, it's trying to open and close, that gets used in a lot of horror movie tropes. That is not the way that these things usually work. Usually they just grind to a halt if there's something mechanically wrong. Something is causing this door, which is clearly computerized at some level, to try to open and close over and over again.
I look for a console that I can hack.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please.
Okay, much less.
The jar of pickles of fortune, yes.
So I got a 5, but since I'm almost omnipotent, I think that's like a 35.
Yeah, not so much. You do not see any console. There may be one on the other side if you were judging based on his usual paranoia. In fact, you don't actually see an obvious keypad or anything on this side except that handle, which I talked about before.
At this point, I'm going to be losing my patience, and I'm going to see if I can just use the amount that they've slowed it down to pull the leg out or whatever. I'm going to grab onto whatever's being hit and try to maneuver it out of doors.
Go ahead and make, let me have you make a strength check for this again.
All right. It's a 9.
So you pull it out and something bangs against the inside of the door that you can't see. You have to drag it, so clearly this is still attached to some body. You hear an unfortunate squishing sound as it does that.
So can I make a medical check to identify which organ I just ruptured?
I was going to say. You can make a medical check if you wish.
I do.
Go ahead and do that.
Man.
You're like,
right.
I think there's a leg. I've seen legs, and this is a leg. I think it's a leg. It might be a chicken leg. I don't know what kind of leg.
All right, at this point, I'm going to give up.
As I've approached the window, what have I seen in the meantime?
Now you're shining a light through it?
Well, actually, did you say it's dark in his space?
Yes, and unusually so in a way that I'll describe, but I need to know what you're doing to see inside the window first.
Well, this is one of the very few times I get to use this. I have infrared vision, but it only works through 5 feet of non-metallic material. So I'm going to turn on my infrared and see into the dim light, and it will discern heat signatures within the building.
So predator vision. You just turn on like a
Yes.
whoa, 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 whoa. All right.
Yes.
When you do this, you can see that there are a couple of things which are radiating heat. One of the things which is radiating heat seems to be closest to you, and on the sort of, so the door is in front of you, the window is on the right side of the door as you look at it, and the heat signature, this one heat signature, is very close to the window, basically between the window and the door, and it's roughly square. If you had to guess, this is probably either the power panel or the control panel for the door. But it is very hot, as if whatever is in there, more hot than a normal energy source or anything like that would be, as if something is overheating or something is going on with this like rectangular heat signature. The other heat signature is a very faint one, and it is the outline of a body that is lying on the ground. The leg that it is attached to is, a third of the way out of the door right now. There is heat coming from it, but it's faint.
And is the window that I'm in front of, is it on the side of this building, or is it right next to the door that all my friends are in front of?
Pretty near to the door, like not right next to it, but close.
Okay.
There's one other thing too, Kaz. Inside, just without even using your sort of infrared, there is smoke everywhere inside this house.
Seeing that, I back up to where my friends can see me, and I hold my hand up and I say, "Stop! Stop! That's Bastion's leg. He's trapped. Just can we pry open the door?" And Kaz tries to go over and maybe gestures for Petra to give one more good try to just brute force the door open. I guess.
Rah!
Can I give
Yes.
Petra some advantage?
Yes, in that case, if you're all going to collectively do it, including the constructs at once, I would say that Petra gets a roll, but she can do it at advantage.
Okay. There's...
And again, athletics is fine.
Is Petra proficient in athletics?
No,
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
but Petra is really strong.
Yes.
True.
So
Oh yes.
there's one. Do you want me to roll the other as well?
Might as
just
well
in
if you
case?
crit it, you know.
I did try to put it in chat first, thank God. All right, so let's go with that. 17 plus 3, 20.
Yeah. So this time, with this terrible screeching of metal, the door comes to a halt, and you hear this, and you do stop it, but it's a strain, Petra. The engine or whatever, these mechanics are straining against it, and you hear this kind of squealing and like as the door is attempting to close again. And now that you're doing this, besides the strain of your muscles holding it back, you can smell this smoke that's coming out from the inside. It is a smoke which is kind of a combination of the smoke you might get off of an overheating engine, but it's also fixed with a foul, sulfurous, burning smell that smells faintly like cooked meat.
Oh.
So,
Cough
yeah.
and recoil at the foul, sulfurous stench.
At this point, I'm going to pull the remaining part of the body that's connected to the leg that I was holding onto out completely,
Okay.
and do a medical assessment as quickly as I can.
Okay, so you pull it out, just manage to get it, and again, now Petra, as soon as he does that, do you let the door go, or do you continue to hold it?
I'm going to keep holding it.
Okay.
Just so we can kind of see what's going on past it.
Okay, and Sleepwell, are you are the constructs continuing to help her hold the door open?
Yes.
Okay. Should have had them duel to the death. I would say, Hillness, that any of these folks would probably, Petra already has an inspiration, but I think the others would gladly take one. I have a feeling they're going to need it at some point. So go ahead and make your medicine check then.
Okay. I think I'm proficient in it.
Yes, I'm almost positive you are.
Okay. So that's a 23.
Yeah.
Dope.
So you were right. It is indeed Bastion. And as you're looking at it, you've confirmed. But as you're looking at him, there is an extremely faint pulse. His body has several severe burn wounds in it. And it looks to you as if he's been shot with a laser. Now, the really disturbing part of all of this is you pulled him out, and he was lying on his face, actually. That's one of the reasons why the foot was kind of like at a natural angle from the rest of it. You think his ankle may be twisted or badly hurt, but the other thing is that this injury, this wound, happened, the burn mark is on his back, as if someone hit him with this from point blank range.
Okay.
With like a laser rifle. So his skin is terribly scorched, and there's a big impact wound in his back, and his breathing is extremely shallow. Like there's barely a pulse.
I'm gonna
Sherlock.
immediately.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I immediately use one of my level 1 1d8 healing powers on him.
Okay. All right.
And so that is, if I'm remembering right, it's 1d8.
Plus your
then-
channeling ability modifier or whatever it's called. Or
Right.
your forge.
And I also get a medicine bonus of 2, so I think it's 1d8 plus 4, if I'm remembering that right.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
So that's 10 points of damage healed.
Okay. So you do that, and you can see that his breathing kind of deepens a little bit, and there's a little bit of, you can see that his pulse strengthens a little bit, but he's still at a very low level. And your concern now is that you may have sort of stabilized any sort of further loss of blood, but it looks to you, I mentioned this sort of like the smell of meat, he may have lost a good deal of blood already, and healing is not just going to put blood back in his body. You're also worried about, septic shock. I mean, he's been lying on this dirty ground. You don't know, but he looks like he's not going to die in the next few seconds, but he looks to be in a very bad way.
Right. So immediately I yell out, Saren 5, are you in there?
So you hear kind of a like sounds like voice that's repeatedly being cut off.
So I
Through
turn
the
to the other
smoke.
thing. I oh, go ahead.
I go to the window, and well, first of all, what I was gonna ask earlier, Sherlock Holmesing what you described. Can we imagine then that he was standing outside of his hut and then turned to go walk inside of it and then was shot in the back and then the door closed on his leg? Is that what you're saying is what happened?
Or that he was shot in the leg or shot in the back and then sort of tried to drag himself into the hut and couldn't get all the way there before he collapsed.
Okay.
But again, why the door would, there are fail-safe mechanisms in the future. Like the dystopic future does not involve everyone dying because a door slams on them. There are fail-safes, they're not supposed to close on you. The fact that it keeps closing on his leg is weird. This is not how things are supposed to operate.
Yeah, but we can imagine that what looks like a laser shot came from like outside the building.
Yeah, but again, point blank range. Now you wouldn't necessarily know that unless Sleepwell told you, but you do know enough to know this is a big scorch mark and a big wound.
Okay, and then knowing that, then I go back to the window and I want to check with my infrared vision again to see if I see Saren 5 or if we can figure out where Tesora is.
Okay, so you do not, you do see a couple of faint little things here and there, like little blips of heat, but nothing that would really account for a body per se. Unless Tesora is dead, she's definitely not in the hut because there's no heat signature that would be large enough. The one heat signature was large enough to be a body you've already removed. Other than that, the only thing giving off heat is that, the thing that I mentioned, which, by the way, the rectangle, which is now, by the way, in your heat vision burning so brightly it's almost orange, like like your kind of lens flare, like as you're looking at it.
I say to Sleepwell, I don't see any other heat signatures in there.
This guy was shot in the back, and Tesora was the one in the place with him, and Soren's almost deactivated as well, but I think whatever virus is getting all the other computer stuff right now has probably gotten him. But Tesora, and I turn to Petra, where is she? Could she have done this?
She could have done anything. You never know with her. Sure, quite possible. Shoot somebody in the back? Yeah, that's her style.
Can you contact her? Will she answer a call?
Can I call Tesora on our little comm link?
You can try. You folks have been connected to each other with comms anyway, but I do want to remind everyone, I think you had tried to stay off of comms because you were worried about viral infection.
All out.
Yeah, that's why you were calling out to each other rather than using it. But you're welcome to try it if you wish. I'm just reminding everyone that was one of your concerns.
Well, at this point, it seems as though we should head back and try to figure out a way to end all this. Artemis, what do you think?
There's a firefight going on right outside our door. Why don't we figure out what's going on with that first?
I feel like that's the gangs. In which case, I guess I mistook it. I thought this firefight was happening in front of Bastion's place and when Bastion was in danger. And it turns out he is in danger, but I'm not very concerned about the firefight, to be honest.
It's a little unusual, don't you think?
Yes, you're right. I mean, we can at least check it out, I guess.
I mean, let's at least figure out if it's the roaches and somebody else, right? I mean, otherwise, I mean, do you want to get shot randomly?
No.
I mean, is this?
No.
We still don't know if there's something in there that can't be seen by infrared that's shooting people in the back. I don't know that we should turn our backs on this area before we clear it.
Well, from what I understand, the shot to Bastion came from outside of his building, not within. And I kind of scanned the long plains of Sector 77 ominously.
Dramatically to
Yes.
see. Yeah, you do not. I mean, you do pick up, heat signatures here and there, but I mean, it's a little bit confused. Like there's
Sure, yeah.
and obviously it's got limited range to it.
Yeah.
You don't see anything. There's again outside the hut. There is now some smoke coming out of the hut, so that there's a little bit sort of flowing over you, but it's not misty outside. It's just the general darkness of Sector 77 for the most part, with occasional floodlights and stuff from buildings.
I'm gonna cast Esper Sense
Okay.
and see if I can see anything. Step into the room and see if I can see anything.
Okay, so you kind of sneak past then, Petra and the
Yeah, I
constructs? Okay.
slipped under Petra's, sort of like large reach of arms and just like make my way into the room.
So when you go into the room, you do not sense any Esper powers except ones that might be coming from your companions, like behind you.
Okay.
But you are immediately almost overwhelmed by the stench. I mean, the smoke for one thing, and then on top of it, just the sort of smell of blood and flesh. It's not a pleasant smell. But the other thing that now that you're inside is you can hear just very quietly. You would not have heard this from where you were outside. Certainly not with lasers going on in a firefight. Whatever 1,000 feet from you. But inside you hear this. Like something. It sounds like something sparking or something like that.
I would love to do an investigation check to figure that out,
Okay. All right. You may do so.
or even a perception check.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Make a perception check first. It seems to be coming from the back of the hut, by the way.
Take your choice, 19 or 20.
19. So when you, I will take the choice. 19. So yeah, you can actually hear that it's coming from the back of the hut, and it's coming from the back of the hut where the smoke seems to be maybe its worst, or at least most billowy.
All right. Crouching low, waving my arms around to kind of, disperse whatever smoke I can do, I move into the back. Guys, there's something smelly and sparking back here. I'm going to go check it out. Don't get shot.
You feel free to go ahead with that old smelly thing.
Aramis, when you get in there, you are going to have to hold your breath at this point because you're probably going to have to make a con saving throw at some point. The smoke is incredibly dense here, even for an Ashen Forged. So as you sort of duck down and you get closer, you hear this again. Gets louder as you get closer. And then you can just see, kind of faintly through the smoke, just a little bit of flickering light. That seems to be playing over what looks like maybe a torso.
You said that there's a window in all this place?
Back towards the front, where from you're crawling away from it at the moment.
And the smoke is billowing out the window as well?
No, the window is closed. There's no opening to the window. It's just billowing out the door. It's
Okay.
just obscuring the window.
Okay. If anybody can do some ventilation or help me out in any way, shape, or form, open a window. I don't know. It's really bad back here, but we got something. And I'm going to move forward to kind of get a closer look at this sparking thing.
Okay. As he does that, do Sleepwell or Petra or Kaz or any of you, do you have
Open a
any
window?
bright ideas about ventilation? Or that you want to check?
I
So-
back up from the window, and I want to. I back up
Do it.
like 15 feet from the window,
Okay.
and I'm
Oh,
gonna
God.
shoot my sniper through the window.
Okay.
Who has that inspiration?
I was gonna say, I bet you're inspired right now. Okay, so you back up 15 feet, take aim at the window.
Yep. Oh,
Fire
you want me
away.
to roll? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm going to ask you to make an attack roll.
All right.
Won't be a
my
difficult
bonus
one.
for that's pretty good. Let's see. Okay. 25.
Okay.
Wow.
So you
Nice.
fire, and it impacts. I'm not going to ask you to make a damage roll. And the plastic literally shatters. Now, it's not glass, so it doesn't, but it definitely shatters, essentially like cracks, almost like snaps into pieces, and just drops to the ground. And Aramis, you're aware all of a sudden of this sound as if, inside there's just smoke and just the bizzing sound, but it was also very muffled. And so it's like, and all of a sudden you hear, like your ear just popped, right? This noise as this pressure kind of equalizes. And there's some smoke now billowing out of the window. And so the air clears a little bit. And you're able to get close enough now to see that you are looking at the top sparking torso of Seren 5. The head is still on, and its eyes are kind of flickering on and off. It holds a laser pistol in its right hand. And as you come close, you can see that its eye is sort of half open almost, like sort of staring. And again, more of the bzz, 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 and you can see that again the buzzing is coming from the circuit panel in front, which has been blown open. There's just a array of wires and lights sparking in this.
Hey, Sleepwell, is Bastion stable?
Only for the moment, but yeah.
You better get your butt up here, buddy. You got another patient, and I think he's our shooter.
I say drag him out.
I'm not sure he's gonna let me, or I think I'm gonna need a little help, or at least some coverage while I make this happen. So somebody come up here and help me.
I'm going to send one of the constructs in to help him. In fact, the one that looks like Aramis, except it doesn't have a head.
There you go.
Okay, so the headless Aramis comes in.
While this is happening, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna stand in front of the door, assuming that Petra's still and some of the constructs are doing the job of still holding it. I'm just gonna, using my infravision, I'm just gonna track every member of our party who's inside the building and just monitor them and make sure none of them collapse or anything.
The only thing I want to note, Kaz, is that the heat signature on the rectangle is now turning bright yellow with heat.
Okay. Yep. I just say, you have to get out of there as quickly as possible, please. And I keep my eye on the thing.
Okay.
Start dragging the body.
Okay, so now when you grab onto it, I'm going to have you make a Constitution saving throw for me, Aramis, because you are shocked immediately. Zapped. Now, he doesn't shoot you. It arcs down, like his body is just like, just electricity kind of coursing over his torso and down there. Okay.
How's it,
so
11?
yeah, so you're struck by it, and it hurts a little bit. It is only going to do 2 points of damage, but it definitely is though it's more than just like a static electricity.
Ow!
Yeah. You hold on to him and you start pulling, and his eye flicks open, and he says, "Stop! Stop! Stop!
What's going on there, Saren 5?
Just stop! I don't want to hurt anyone.
I reach for his gun.
Make a dexterity check for me, please.
Yes. Yeah, how about that crit?
Wow.
There we go.
Nice work. Is that me? Okay, sweet. Yeah? This is Genesis. This is, Genesis.
She looks so confused.
The robot is having some trouble. Click IG 11. Hey, don't think about IG-11. I'm sorry. No, not like that. I forgot. That's like her favorite character. It was the daddy. Then he sacrificed. Anyway. Okay. So, you reach for the gun, and he reaches he sort of starts lifting it, but you manage to get to the gun first. Now, are you going to basically pull it out of his hand? What do you want to do because you have your hand on the barrel of it now?
I'm gonna point it down to the ground.
Okay, you're gonna have to
Hold it
force
down
his arm down to do that, which you probably can do, but
Okay, well then instead I'll just take it from him. If
Okay.
I'm moving quick enough, I'm just gonna pull it out of his hand.
Yep, I need you to make a strength check, but you can do this at advantage because you got there faster than he was expecting.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna burn that advantage that I just got from
Okay, from illness.
illness and do it again.
Okay,
How about a 13?
that was a dexterity, my friend. Unfortunately, I
Oh,
needed
sorry,
strength
strength
for it.
check. Hold on, sorry.
Ah,
No,
there we go.
a crit is a crit is a crit is a crit.
Crit is a crit. So you do manage to pull it loose, and you pull the gun loose, and his hand just sort of drops limply, and get out, just stop before it's too late. Stop.
What's too late?
Just the winter, just long, just fire, just fire.
Long winter is here, or is it with you?
And you kind of he's sort of jerking his head, which might be a nod, it's sort of what's left of it, and he says, "Overrode, didn't mean, bastard," and he jerks his hand up, but at first you're like, are you going to try to hit me? And you can see that he's pointing at the panel, and at this point, Kaz, you can't even look at it, it's so bright. And there's now, Petra, you can clearly smell some smell coming out of it, like burning wires.
I yell, Aramis, I don't care what you come out with, but you have to get out of there in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And we drag this. With my headless companion.
Yeah, you probably
drag
can.
that thing. We drag it out
Okay.
as best as we possibly can.
So you get him, you and the construct manage to kind of pull, him out. And Petra, you have to really strain to kind of open the door even wider, which, Kaz at this point, it's just, there's just a big, stack overflow message just on your there's no, you can't even see anymore. And so you pull them out, and when you get them out, what do the rest of you you just pull them out just outside of it, or what do you?
We all back the heck up.
Yeah.
Petra,
Yeah.
are you letting go then?
As soon as people are clear, yes.
Okay, so the door slams shut, and you manage to pull them free. And let's see, I'm gonna ask people to make for me. I'm gonna ask everybody to make strength checks for me. I need to know how far you were able to get from this thing, and all of you are doing strength checks for different. Actually, no, I take that back. Strength for everybody but Sleepwell. Sleepwell can do a dexterity one because Sleepwell wasn't really carrying everybody, but one way or the other, that's going to affect everyone. And I guess Kaz, because you were back from the door already, you can also make a dex roll. So Aramis and Petra, I guess, are the two that should be making strength.
Roll?
No,
or a
I'm sorry, I was
strength
being
roll?
completely confusing in how I described it. Let me try again. Aramis and Petra are making strength checks. Sleepwell and Kaz are making dex checks.
Because I could make a dex roll, Greg. I'd be happy to.
No, is that your strength check?
Oh, God.
You're
gosh.
trying to pull this thing out.
Sleep
So
will
what
get the
about-
heck away.
Just
What about
plus-
the construct making some sort of a check as well to help me pull this thing out?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yes, not advantage for this one, but I'll allow you to get a +3 as the construct is pulling out what's left
Right.
of Saren 5.
Is this just a straight dex check, or can we use dexterity saving throw, or
Not a saving throw.
acrobatics,
No, this
or-
is a check.
or any skill?
Acrobatics I will take. It's not a
Alright.
saving throw, but I'll take acrobatics if you have it.
All right.
Then I got a 10 if I got a +3 to it because I rolled a 7.
Okay. I'll come back to that.
9.
Okay, so Sleepwell, you back up. You're like, I'm out. Everyone else is pulling, and then there is this and this massive explosion at the front of the door. Let me see. Those of you who did not succeed will be caught in the blast radius. You will take 1 million damage. I'm kidding. You will not take 1 million damage.
You'll take 999,000.
Yes, I was. Did I say a million? I meant only. Okay. You're not going to take that much, but you are all going to take 15 points of damage. This is fire damage, in case anyone's curious. If you did not make your checks, so basically everybody would sleep well. Is going to take 15 points of damage. Sleepwell, you manage to get far enough outside the radius that you feel the scorch, like you feel the, on your face, but your whiskers are singed, not the rest of you. So, but everyone else is going to take 15.
All right, I need a judgment call on something here.
All right.
So I am going to ask you if Force Shield is going to give me any additional bonus to the saving throw.
No,
it's essentially what we're making is a saving throw.
Yeah, well, but it's not an attack. And what you're getting is blast, which is going to envelop you. It's not just coming from one direction. That's unfortunately.
But it's not. It's not a saving throw at all. That seems really weird.
You're not making a saving throw. The check you were making was not to avoid damage. The check you were making was how fast you could get out of the radius. So if you were hit by a fireball, you'd make a saving throw to dodge out of the way. This was, could you get out of the way before the thing even reached you? That's the idea.
All right. Cool.
So unfortunately, yeah. Also, most of you are crawling, which makes ducking left or right harder, but not entirely. So Kaz, I think I have you at 32.
Yes.
And Petra, that's going to put you at 34. Sleepwell is okay. Aramis is going to be at 11. I think I have
9.
You at... Oh, 9?
I'm going to be 9 because I took 2 points of damage.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, I had you at full though. I had you at 28 before, and then you took 2 to go to 26.
That's right. So I went to 26, and now I'm at 11.
Yeah. All right. So I definitely don't want to rob you of points under the circumstances.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so now the front of the basically the hut is essentially leveled. Like there's maybe some of the back wall left, but that's it. The explosion doesn't seem to have stopped the firefight. You'll be happy to know. That seems to be continuing unabated. But you're now lying on this scorched place in front of what used to be Bastion's hut.
All right. So first of all, I say, okay, everyone, gather around, and I'm going to use my mass treatment, which is, if I press on it, it should say like what it is. Well, it does not say.
Normally, it says mass treatment. Description. This is great.
You would tell me like. I'm so sorry. Can somebody?
I got it. I'm on it.
Okay.
Mass treatment. It's so amazing. So yes, you can medically treat up to 6 creatures of your choice that you can see within range. Each creature regains hit points equal to 2d8 plus your forging ability modifier, which I don't remember your forging ability.
I think it's 3.
Probably.
Right?
His forging abilities is intelligence, right?
Or
wisdom.
It's tied off of. I think it's tied off of wisdom, right? So that would be 2d8 plus 4.
Okay. I'm going to
for everybody.
That. Come on. Sorry. There it is. So, doink, doink.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice
Thank
heal,
you, Carlos. Thank you.
That's a hell of a heal. 18 points to everybody. Dang.
Beautiful.
I'm back up to full, I think.
Please tell me like, by Moradin's hammer, you are healed. Okay. So Kaz is at except Kaz, you would only be affected half, right?
No, I'm affected full.
Oh, right.
The errata basically allows.
That's right. That's right. I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that you're at full. And that means that Petra is at full. That was a heck of a heal. And Sleepwell is healed. Okay.
And Bastion, I guess, technically.
Yeah,
Bastion. Right.
Bastion. Yeah, so Bastion is. You can see that he is breathing. again, but he still is unconscious. And just to be clear, mechanically, I'm not suggesting like he was at -80, so you just have to keep like this is not the impression you're getting. It's you know, you've done enough medicine in your time, Sleep Well, to know when someone's dealing with some very serious like you know, injuries that you don't know if you could reach them in time. You're not sure. So he's still with you, but definitely unconscious. Sleep well, Hilness. Thanks for the inspiration too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well.
So right now I'm going over to Saren 5 and just seeing if there's anything mechanically I can do for him.
Okay. The sort of middle of his torso just looks like you don't actually know how his speech centers are still functioning. Like it's just it looks as if something has ripped out the wires. And make a perception check for me actually on this one, Sleepo.
Okay.
Welcome back, Nonstop. I hope your power stays up. God, can you imagine? Welcome to the coronavirus, plus no power. Good grief.
A measly 8.
Measly 8. Yeah, it's something like they don't look as if they were cut. These wires look as if they were ripped, would be the way to describe it. And so they're jagged and sparking and you can see that the sparking also is getting a little more feeble.
Yeah, I just say like I can't really touch him because, you know, the last time I tried to touch a construct, it almost like started taking me over in some kind of weird way. I don't, and Sleepo's really starting to kind of like shake and struggle. He's like, this is.
I go over and put a hand on Sleepwell's shoulder and say, "It's all right. You've definitely done enough for now. I don't know how much we can do right now. I think the best thing we could do is get rid of the long winter."
Did it turn there? Did Saren say anything to you?
Only that the long winter was invading it.
It said the long winter, and at this point, Sleepwell is just like, okay then, and he just takes out his own gun and puts a bullet in Saren 5.
Kaz would want to stop him before he does that.
Okay, then I'm going to ask for a dex check from both of you. Basically an opposed dex check to see who gets to what.
Okie dokie.
Beat a 12.
19.
Now, before you actually grab his gun, I'm going to give you a chance to make a perception check also because of your proximity to the body, Kaz.
Okie dokie.
Before you make this decision, or before you make this call.
7.
You're like, time to grab a gun from someone. So your hand shoots out. You can now grab his gun. Now, question is what you want to do with it. Like you can, you know, turn it back at him, fire, and that's how it comes to an ignominious end. Yeah.
No.
I hope, let's please not do that.
I say, wait. You don't believe there's any chance after this that we could get this virus out of him? Because if we don't believe that, then I don't know what to believe about me. Okay? Is this what you're gonna do to me when I turn?
It's just like, but you know, and Sleepwell's just kind of really dizzy with grief, and he's like, but your guts aren't ripped out. Look, he's just.
Who knows what'll happen? Just, of all people, Sleepwell, you should know to give him a chance.
Yeah,
Give him
kid.
a chance.
This is not you.
It's okay.
It does
And
seem
I-
unlike you.
I relax my hand on Sleepwell's armament as long as Sleepwell seems to have calmed down at least enough to not shoot.
Sleepwell is just like, okay, and he just kind of puts it down. It's like, okay, we got to get away from it though. For now, how do we
We need to find a place to put Bastion and Saren 5, but hope not together. And then we need to go.
And so I said, like, well, I can leave constructs to guard them.
I don't know if that's a good idea. Who knows at what point they'll turn on us.
Yeah, that was my question too. After seeing Saren 5 there, buddy, what's the likelihood that even Headless over here is going to turn against us at some point?
Yeah, so at this point, Sleepwell, who's feeling very out of sorts with both Bastion and Saren 5, is just sort of like, I'm making bad decisions right now. I can just basically dissipate the constructs so that they are just deactivated and we don't have to worry about them. Does that sound like a good idea?
Can you do that at any time?
Yeah.
Who knows if Long Winter gets a hold of them, if it'll still even take Sleepwell's command, though.
That's what I'm worried about.
I think
I'm
a
little concerned about us losing half of our resources. Essentially half the party at this point. I mean, I'm
You're
not
right.
a big fan of, and I'm looking over at Headless. I'm not a big fan of these guys. Sleep well. But they do serve a purpose.
We've lost one already. As soon as it walked outside, I point over to the one under Otis. I think they might be liabilities. I don't know. Petra, what do you think?
Petra.
I'm not sure, as always, because we seem to take care of everything around us, and yet the world still pursues us. I think we should try to keep. I mean, I think it's a good point that if we're ready to kill Saren 5 because of the long winter, that is not the only member of our party that has been touched by the long winter.
I think we've been able, up until very recently, we've been able to handle a lot of stuff without the help of these constructs. Not that they weren't helpful, Sleepwell, but I think we can go at this with just us and the Matakai. And I look around and see if they actually followed us.
Yeah,
or...
they did. As you look up, you actually see that Kratos is kind of up, just sort of looking over the slight little rise of the hill at the firefight, and kind of looks back down at you. And a moment later, you see Layden kind of hustling over the hill, and she has her own kind of rifle at her side, laser rifle at her side, and kind of slides down the hill, panting slightly. I mean, Layden never really pants that much, but just slightly, and says, "I figured out who your people are that are fighting each other up there. It's the gangs. I saw a couple of them with Outcast Union jackets they were wearing, and I don't know, but I'm pretty sure on one side was Jolene. It looked like fighting with, I couldn't tell, it might have been 3 different sides. Gangs firing at each other, Jolene and the rest of them firing at the 2 of them. It's a mess, but they're all worried about each other right now, not us.
Maybe this sudden mech malfunction thing didn't just affect this immediate area. Maybe it's all of Sector 77, and maybe the gangs are blaming each other.
Is there any way we can monitor the signal here that's being broadcast by the Long Winter?
The problem is that if you do, you run the risk of being affected by it, or at least the mechanical devices which could pick up on it. That was in fact one of the things that happened with the comms, you might remember, when you were back on the space station. So there was part of it.
Well, while Greg's distracted, do we have any sort of more primitive alternative to the comms? Can we come up with something like that?
Soup can and a string.
Well, you know what I mean.
You can whistle a good tune. I mean,
light signals, but we'd have to come up with something. I mean,
all right.
Hopefully we're gonna all stick together from now on. So
I pull my headset out of my ear, like the comm out of my ear. I'm like, I'm willing to sacrifice this right now and stick with one of you full time. If we tune into this damn thing and we find out what's going on, because I have a feeling that this firefight is a distraction by the long winter, trying to get us to stop focusing on it and start focusing on something else long enough for it to figure out a way to continue to do what it's doing or get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's isolated here right now in this sector. I would suspect it's out there somewhere else as well, but whatever this thing wants, it doesn't want us focusing on it right now.
Right.
This makes a lot of sense. So I'm willing to drop this right here, tune it in, and listen into whatever it's doing. Sweeple, can you rig something up that allows us to actually, like, a loudspeaker hear this thing, and then we'll be done with it?
Suddenly you hear something hit the loud, so you hit a table nearby you. Everyone starts, guns fire.
Kratos is like, sorry.
I apologize. It's my fault.
Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I think Carlos froze with a smile again.
Oh god.
Now.
Oh, there he
No,
is.
you're
Oh,
back.
there
You're
he
back.
goes.
You're good.
You're back. You're good.
That's funny.
Oh, sorry about that. So, see, because I'm always smiling. See, I'm a happy dude. You
Right.
always
That's
think
it.
I'm-
That's it. That's it.
That's why it takes us a little while to notice each time.
Right. That's it. We're like,
oh,
oh, he's just, you know,
yeah.
it is usual.
It's
happy
just,
self.
yep. Mhm.
Yeah. No, but I say to Aramis, I mean, given time, I might be able to rig something, but you know, what equipment? What am I using? I don't think this is the time for it. Even though I think you're right, I think we should go back in there and try to solve this. And I turn to Lade and I say, "This is me admitting I was wrong. Right now, I think I'm not quite in my right headspace, so I'm willing to follow people with better judgment. What should we do?"
I'm not convinced we should listen in yet. I think we should go back and try to finish the rest of that citadel. And then if we glean nothing from that, if we still can't find it, like we've not been able to find it for the past 5-6 hours, then let's listen in, I think. But I think we should go back.
That sounds right.
All right,
All right.
let's do
Agreed.
it.
Okay, so you're gonna now. Are you leaving? And are you leaving Bastion and Saren 5 there?
Where do we put these guys where they would be safe?
Anywhere here is not going to be safe.
Citadel's not going to be much safer, but at least they'll be out and not exposed.
Yeah.
You know, my constructs could carry them as long as we have the constructs. Maybe just carry them inside of the vestibule area of the Roach Citadel.
What if we could try to put them both in the garage, or the vestibule, whatever you said.
The vestibulal.
Yes, I'm a mercenary, not a whatever.
An interior designer.
And
Perhaps in
now
the
you're in the
parlor.
vestibule. Yes, not the
I
vestibule.
prefer the
but
antechamber.
Put them in the solarium.
Yes.
perhaps.
Mhm, yes. So I guess we run back with Saren 5 and with Bastion and with the Matakai to the Citadel with the candlestick.
I was gonna say running is a relative term, right? Like you mean you're half dragging, half pulling,
Yes.
kind of. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Warzone-y as you kind of pull them back over the bridge. The firefight continues, as I mentioned, unabated as you pull them back. When you get back closer to the Roach Citadel, you can see that Otis is still lying face down. Your construct is still lying underneath it. They have not moved at all. Sleep well. And I'm sorry. And did you say you were you were deactivating the constructs for now or not? Did you say you were? I'm sure I didn't hear that.
I think we were, weren't we?
Is he
Okay.
frozen? Oh, there he
There he
is.
is back.
Say that again, Carlos.
Sorry, I was saying we hadn't made a decision as of yet.
Okay.
So
I just didn't know if you wanted them to be with you going over the bridge, or if you're leaving them here or deactivating them here or what.
yeah. And so at this point, I say, okay, bring them or leave them, everybody.
I think we should leave him.
Yeah. Let's leave them.
deactivate them and leave them.
And so,
All right.
yeah, I basically dispel them.
Right. Okay. All right. They are deactivated / dispelled. Okay. So working together, you and the two Matakai are able to kind of pull them across the bridge, kind of, into the wide open, gaping front of the Roach Citadel. And you find yourself back in that room, the room that's right, sorry. Not that room that I just, for some reason, decided to put a drawing in. There we go. This room, where you were at the front, basically, of the Citadel. What do you want to do?
Ooh. So we drop Bastion and Saren 5.
We lay them down gently.
Okay.
And do we don't remember because it's been a month and a half, but does our party remember why we couldn't get into those two doors in the well, what would be the western room, but the northern room?
I don't believe you had actually tried yet. I think you went up there and then came back down to try these other doors, including you hadn't tried the southern door either.
Okay.
Or sorry, I beg your pardon. I guess it would be the eastern door.
Whatever.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Where do you guys think we should go?
We want to go to the places we haven't been.
Well, we need to clear these doors up here first, right?
Do we? Okay. Well, let us do that.
Sure. We go back up.
Okay. All right. So you go up to there. And as a reminder, in case people forget, this is what looks like it might have been a dining hall. Here at one point, there's a pair of these Perspex dining tables and a bunch of plastic chairs that are stacked against one wall of this room. And there is this vid screen that was playing this holiday movie called The Woman with Green Eyes. And it's still playing. You might remember when you first listened at the door, you heard talking, and then when you came in, that was the talking that you were hearing, was the vid screen.
There was a body in here too, at least one.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I remind everybody, don't touch any corpses.
All right. We
don't usually, do we?
there's looting. We go to or at least Kaz goes to this southern door, this lower door.
Okay.
And sees if he can open it.
Okay. Yeah, this one actually opens up and reveals. Inside here, you see what looks like a small kitchen, basically. It looks like there's a refrigerator, there's an oven, there's a stove, there's what might be kind of like a dishwasher. This is also considerably cleaner than any other part of the facility. You see those things there, but standing behind all of those and holding what looks like a cleaver is a short, tubby man wearing an apron. He's very red in the face and he has a cleaver. And as he's sort of on one side and he sees you and he holds up the cleaver and he's like, "That's it. You don't come any closer. You hear me?"
All right, Chef Boyardee. What can we do for you?
Look, don't make fun of spaghetti. No, he doesn't say that.
Pasta is sacred.
SpaghettiOs are delicious and incredibly salty. So he holds up the cleaver and he says, "You just let me out of here, all right? You just let me out of here. I wasn't with them. I'm just the cook. Just let me out of here, and no one has to get hurt."
Who
all right?
are you cooking for?
The roaches. I cook for them here.
Huh.
Not that they much care. I guess they won't care about anything anymore. Serves them right, too.
Is his cleaver covered with blood?
It is not. The cleaver is actually less clean than the rest of the room, which is a little troubling. But it is not covered in blood.
Sleeple, is there any way to detect whether somebody's infected or not with what you have?
Of course, I don't really know what I have, so I don't have a damn character sheet. But I pull out a Star Trek like tricorder. I think I had some sort of medical thing.
Sure.
And I wave it around and try to look like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't think I get anything. It's like I'm not picking anything up.
He kind of looks at you like, wiping his hand on his apron with his other hand holding the cleaver.
I say, you wouldn't happen to know where General Blatt likes to eat his food?
I don't know. Usually spends most of his time in his office. If anything he ever said to me was to yell at me to get something out of his way when he was walking through. I hope he rots.
Where is his office?
Down that way, and he points off and to the left, like down to I guess this would be the eastern side of the building. Down there, you'll probably find him and his lieutenant. Once you blew up half the building, they probably know you're there.
I turn back to the group. See, this it's getting easier. Thank you.
Seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. I vote to let him go on his way.
Yeah, it's like we'll escort him out. Basically, I say like, okay, you're free to go. We just want to watch you to leave. By the way, there's a firefight going on across the bridge, so be careful out there.
He says, I won't be going anywhere close to that. Now that I'm actually out of this building, I'm gonna try to get the hell out of here and get off this planet. Somebody's gotta need a cook.
We do.
I look back at the party.
So he looks at you for a moment, and again, his face gets even redder if that were possible, and he kind of like shakes his head slowly like, that's insane. I'm not going. He's like, I don't think I'd be cut out to work with you people. I've seen your needs. And he kind of looks down at the gaping hole in the front and like the body on the ground and like the destroyed machine parts to the south. And
we've got this luxury ship filled with a crew that would love to have somebody who can actually cook. They've been eating, sort of the food stores and rations. It's not a pretty sight. We offer health and dental.
His cleaver is kind of dirty.
Make a persuasion check for me, Aramis.
No.
Oh God, yes.
Hold on just a second. Let's see if this works. Luckily for you, I'm actually good at these.
Okay. So he so you say this and he sort of like he goes he says, well, where are you going next if you survive? Which you probably won't.
All over.
Captain? And I looked to Petra.
Suddenly I remember I'm the captain. You can see like the pecker it's just like da 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 da. It's like, oh shit. That's
Do you like look over your shoulder for the captain? You're like, oh me. Oh, you're like,
I turn around and go, that's privileged information.
So he
That's
kind
why
of
she's
stares
the
at you
captain.
and narrows his eyes, and he's kind of like, he's like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I never cooked for. I usually only put a couple of meals together. They're
Might be
pretty
able to
good
get you your own bunk, like your
I-
own actual.
Why are we picking up some
My
stray
own
cook?
bunk.
What are you doing
And he
here,
looks at the
Aramis?
cleaver
We're
and
not,
he-
like,
His face lights up. Aramis completely ignoring Petra for a minute, and he's just like, listen. And his voice drops, and he says, "Do you think I could get a new knife? Like a new
Oh
cleaver?"
man, you know what? I'll set you up with all the cutlery you need. Absolutely.
And his face lights up. He's like, all right, day's starting to look up. I'll make you some Frelin soup you won't forget. I have some top-notch Ashford stew. And then he sees both of you and he's like, yeah, but well, I'll try to modify the menu. I'm learning a lot about learning how to be a chef. I just started creating my second meal last week. 2 different meals per week. That's luxury in Sector 77.
I'm sorry. I
Good
don't
nutritious
think
food.
I don't want any protein that you're going to provide for me, sir.
A lot
You're
of
fired.
iron content. And he
And I
kind of
turn away.
chuckles. You see a couple of broken yellow teeth. Wipes his hands
We're
on his...
taking this guy. He's your personal chef.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't jive eating my own kind for protein. Thank you very much.
And he says, I didn't mean that. It's just an expression, you know.
Kaz just turns around and walks back in.
Pretty hoity-toity here, Aramis.
Aramis with his don't
Come
want to
be
eat
my
his own
servant.
title.
Yeah. It's like, I draw the line at cannibalism. Jesus.
Oh, man. Ashen fed. He's like,
Oh,
So he's-
Am I right?
All right. So he so you set him off, assuming you send him off in the rough
Send
direction.
him on his merry way. Enough
Okay.
of this fellow.
All right. So he goes off on his way.
aye, Captain.
Exactly, Rock God. Exactly. But now you now are just sort of in this kitchen, such as it is.
Let's check
Oh, and
the
also
other-
the guy told you as he left that his name was Jonas Winter.
did he have a long face?
Yeah, his middle name was long. No, it was different kind of Winter.
Okay.
Although I'm so tempted to have a end of Usual Suspects moment where he walks away, but no. He's so great, but no.
Eyes are so.
There is no Jonas Winter. But yeah.
I suppose we check the other room before proceeding to the boss,
Yes.
like all good RPG players.
Make sure everyone's up on potions.
Yes.
Everyone got stim packs ready.
We go to the other room.
Okay. This one also opens relatively easily. And when this one opens, you see that you
What
were...
sound does it make?
That.
Ooh, that was smooth.
And after this goes... you see that you're actually looking at a relatively clean bathroom and a toilet. The tiles are aquatic blue, and they're stamped with these fish patterns. And, like relatively clean for this place still means pretty filthy by most civilized people's standards, but relatively clean. There seems to be some thing of some ancient bottle of some kind of pink liquid on the sink.
I say, what is this room? Is this some sort of like infirmary?
Exactly, Rudnell. Truck stop bathroom clean. Is that?
And, I look at the pink bottle of like, oh, that's like a tincture of bismuth, I think.
It actually has a couple of faded words on the front, and it says, or faded letters, and it says something OF, and then something AP on the front of it.
Huh. I wonder if this is like one of these Ipecac tinctures that people used to use. Interesting.
Who's he? What's he? What?
So, basically, Sleeple takes the bottle. He's just like, this would be cool little piece of medical history. Puts it in his pocket.
Okay.
Well, I don't think anything's here. Let's go.
Let's go meet the boss.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. So you go down to the one apparently remaining door that you have not checked yet, which is down here. Down.
Down under.
Yeah. Okay. What would you? So you get to the door. Are you just going to try to open it and enter?
Yes, we make our Esper crew formation, which is Petra in the front, Kaz in the absolute back, and then Sleepwell and Aramis as far away but as close as they necessarily need to be.
Do we have a cutscene for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Esther Crew, form
I was
up!
just gonna say that. Yeah, you hear the dun dun da da dun da da,
Yes.
and I'll form the head. Dun, dun, dun.
It's one of those scenes where they like slow down and then speed up.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so you do that, and then that means that Petra would be opening the door.
Sure.
Okay, so we got Pepto-Bismol and SpaghettiOs all in one episode. Yes, you did. That's what we provide you here.
That's the episode title.
Exactly. Whoops, sorry. Didn't mean to hide. There was a hallway beyond it. So there is an open hallway that goes for about 20 feet or so, and then comes to another door.
I make sure my gravity gun is loaded,
Okay.
and I am currently wielding that.
Okay.
Oh God.
I guess we advance.
Well, you know, if this were D&D, I would have my 10-foot pole out, prodding for traps
Mhm.
and like doing all sorts of shiza. So I guess I would like to turn to the group and be like, can we do anything to see if there's anybody in the other room, or like if they've set traps for us?
I will. I think I have I have a scanner of some sort. 1 second. I think it senses my quarry, which is right now it's all types of machines. Let me see. There it is. Distance from me. Distance from you in miles.
Yes, I remember that. That's how you were able to detect the presence of a lot of different things.
Sure. I won't use that. I'll say not really. I'm assuming the door is metal.
The door does seem to be metal, yes.
Yeah, I say not really. No.
I turned to Aramis. You got anything?
You're muted.
I said, yeah, buddy, got a little ability to detect some Esper, but other than that, I got nothing.
Just
Your constructs were quite useful in this particular case.
yeah.
At this point, though, I have a feeling that these guys actually want to talk to us and tell us their dastardly plan or some evil, deed that they want to confess, or at least want to tell us off before they shoot us. So I don't think the place is gonna be trapped. I'm willing to bet my life on it, though. I'll go in first if you want.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Go in first.
Okay. So you open the door?
I open the door and
Okay.
step inside.
So when you step inside, you see a hallway, a long hallway, lit by these kind of sodium lights that are basically kind of like flickering. Looks like kind of emergency generator type stuff, if you were to get a real sense of it. And you can see that there is, you've got basically two doors to what would be the south of the room, the north of the room, and then another one here to the north. And then there is a larger portion of this room down here at the bottom, which seems to have a bunch of what look like a few desks, and some of the desks seem to be lying on their side, like they got flipped over or knocked over.
How long does that heat signature ability of yours, Kaz, work?
I can only. It's really not the best. I can only really use it if there's dim light or darkness, and there can't be metal in the way.
Okay.
So basically, never.
Okay.
Untrue. You saw something.
Yes, sure. Yes.
I mean, but we all have dark vision, so. But yeah, we can't detect heat.
Should we just call out for him at this point?
Aramis is going to walk up here and knock on the door on the south side.
Okay. So, let's see. All right. So you knock on the door. Make a perception check for me, please.
I like making those. Those are nice. Thanks. Let's see. Perception. God damn it.
You're like, so you hear there's a sort of a metallic knock as it, sort of ringing as you hit the door, but otherwise silence apparently. Although there is kind of a low, I guess the way to describe it would be kind of a low hum of some sort that is not coming from that room necessarily, but is it seems to be coming from that side of the hallway, I guess might be a better way to put it. Kind of a low like that.
There's
You almost feel it more than hear it, I would say.
There's something going on down here. There's some weird sort of energy signature or source. I can't quite describe it. I'm gonna keep moving forward unless somebody else has got better ideas.
I do too.
Yeah, I'll be headed in here.
Okay.
And I knock up to the door on the north.
Okay. When you knock on the door to the north, you do not hear anything, nor is there a vroom, 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 vroom. You don't hear anything. I mean, you can try to make another perception check if you wish and see if you hear anything coming from here, but there's not anything
Sure.
obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems like a door. Like, you know,
A fail's
you've
a
heard-
fail's a fail. Shit.
That's what you hear. The sound of someone knocking yourself.
All right,
That's
Maris
it.
is gonna move forward. Can he see anything more in this larger room at the bottom?
It looks like it extends out to the sides. It's still kind of beyond your vision, but you think you can see like that it sort of essentially flares out to the east and widens out, and you can see more desks down there. And you haven't been able to make complete sort of too much of it yet, except that I would say, there we go, except that I would say that you think you can see maybe the kind of dim light. There's sort of dim light that seems to be coming from what might be screens of some kind, like maybe monitor screens or computer screens down here, that do not seem to be flickering like some of the other light in the hallway is. So there's kind of a dim, pale bluish light that seems to be coming from some of the desks, again, probably from screens. And again, some of the desks are normal, like just regular setup normally, but some of the desks are flipped over on their side.
Okay, I am going to do something really silly.
Okay.
I am going to use that. And
Alter
I'm going to
form.
change my appearance.
Okay. To.
And I Chef Boyardee.
Okay. Let's see.
Yes.
Decide what you look like. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So you have a pretty good memory of what this guy looked like, with or without cleaver.
With or without cleaver? Holy shit. I'm gonna say with.
Okay. All right, you do so. And from behind Sleepwell and Kaz and Petra, you can sort of see his form kind of like sort of shrink a little bit and kind of fatten. And suddenly you feel like you're looking at like the back of a greasy head of hair and yeah.
I turn to Kaz and say, "Look, he's assuming his true form."
Phase 2, Spaghetti-O.
Yes.
And I'm going to be like, "Hey, boss," and step into the room.
Okay. So, when you step into the room, I'm going to ask you to make for me, please. And indeed, they are screens, and not just screens. I'll describe more of this in just a moment. Actually, you know what? I will describe it now, then I'll tell you about what check you need to make. So, indeed, you are now standing. I think I got most of that. So, you are now standing at the top of this sort of flared out room that I mentioned before. There are rows of desks in this area. Some of them are standing, some of them, as I said, are flipped over. And you can also see several electronic boards and screens that are over on the side here. Like you can see one over here, you can see a few over here. And I'm sorry, these on the right are screens. This over here is actually what looks like a sign, and it says ZDR on the sign. It looks like a logo almost. On the sign, which again is on this southern side. On the northern side are these 3 screens, and the desks are sort of moved, as I say, are kind of turned over, and you can see some of those back here. So now I would in fact like you to make that deception check, please.
Oh, sure. That's definitely something I'd love to do. Because
Remember,
I'm
chat,
terrible at them.
Inspiration is the thing. I mean, those of you who have anything left, we're going to be closing shop down here. Closing on shop in about 10 to 15 minutes. So now's your time. The end of March comes upon you. Beware the Ides of March. Probably the longest March any of us have ever lived through.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I am totally out. Let me see. Let's see who we've got. Let's see.
Yep, I think I'm in agreement with Carlos in chat.
Yeah, unless Rock God is still there. If Rock God is still around, I don't know if he had to bail out, but if Rock God is still there, then I think that's the only one at the moment who's. Or actually, Arinth is not here anymore either, because he was here, but he said he had to go to bed. Oh, there's Arinth. There is. You have an inspiration left. You just say ! Inspire, space, and then the character you would like to inspire. Right.
I love the faith, buddy. I love the faith. Thank you so much.
You see Rock God looking from above, like from a little hover ship, and he's just like.
Got a hard head.
To survive this long, I definitely would be.
I believe in Aramis. Listen, man, karma. If you miss a roll tomorrow during your community D&D, Aramis would need it, Aaron. But yeah, Rock God, if you try to jump a chasm during your community D&D session, Shadowed Mage, who's the DM, knows what he needs to do. Arinth has inspired Aramis.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Let's roll again. What? Wait, hold on. Deception.
Come on.
Wow. That's
some,
oh my God.
That's quite something.
If only Rock God were here to help us.
This is where Rock God says, well, I would have done it, but Arinth inspired, so I figured it was fine. So
I'll be fine. We're fine. We're all fine.
So you say that. You say, boss, and you hear, I know who you're asking for, and I know why. And you hear this. It's the sound of a laser rifle kind of powering up. And from behind each desk, so there's a desk to the one side of the room, and there's a desk to the other side of the room, basically one desk down, here, and one desk down here. There are 2 figures that kind of rise above the desk, both with laser rifles pointed at you. One of them is what looks like a female Promethean with kind of reddish hair. She's a little bit thinner and kind of has this haunted and maybe hunted look. And she has got her rifle pointed at you, and you can see that there is the insignia on the front of her armor of what you have come to know as the Roach's kind of insignia. And then over on the other side, you see someone who rises up and is dressed in full. And let me see if I can find it. Yes. Oh, I've got to show you this. I have to show this because it's too good.
No, please don't.
This will be so. It'll be so worth it. You will be so happy. that you were
Really?
shown this thing.
How screwed I am. Thanks. Thanks, Greg. I really appreciate
it's
that.
my, listen, I do what I can, man. I do what I can. In these troubled times, I do what I can. Okay, I'm going to show this on the stream. And so you see emerging from the other table, behind the other desk, I should say, this armored figure rises up.
Black Panther.
Looks like it, right? Rises up. Clearly not, robotic. Clearly looks human, at least in terms of sort of movement. It is not moving in a mechanical, robotic way. And it rises up. And from, through some kind of voice-altered kind of front faceplate, it says, "I think you've come long enough with your lies. You've blown up my building, and now you're gonna pay for it. My name is General Blatt. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the Roach Citadel." And that's where we will bring our session to a close.
Exactly on time.
Yep.
Oh,
well, listen,
God.
at least, though, you found the guy.
All right, brilliant, Rock Guy.
That is
Fucking
plus
brilliant.
100. Yeah, that was brilliant. That's
was good.
tremendous. Well done. Well done, sir. That is great work. Again, though, I'm just warning you, he's playing Community D&D tomorrow, and he has no one to blame but himself if his rogue tries to take an extra jump and doesn't quite make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's... Oh, my goodness.
Be a pity if an accident happened to him.
Yeah, it'd be a shame. Exactly. It is April 1st. In fairness, that's the only somewhat good April Fool's joke that I can
That's
accept.
funny.
Good work though, from everybody, and I'm sorry we couldn't play longer, but I told us why we couldn't. But we did actually make some good progress, and it was really great to be able to get back with the crew. I really enjoyed, by the way, there was a real kind of 1917-ish type of moment of you dealing with the house of Kaz, like looking at the sort of brightening plate that looked like it was gonna rectangular plate that was gonna blow, and trying to Aramis trying to get through the smoke, Petra trying to hold the door open while the thing is trying to close on Bastion's leg and everything. I really liked Sleepwell's reaction to it all, where he was just kind of like, I'm kind of in shutdown mode. I don't even know what to do. So a lot of good sort of group moments as a result of all that. And at least you've made your way to the boss and you got yourself a chef. So, there's all kinds of good things that worked out. I will start as per usual. I will start as per usual on the right side of the screen and work over. I will start with Zac. Good work today, Zac. I liked a lot of the way that your moment where you grab the gun and you're like, are you going to do that to me? Is that what happens to me when I turn? I was like, wow, it just got real. And that definitely, you could tell, got through to Sleepwell, despite sort of the anguish that he was dealing with. So how'd you feel about today, and where will the lovely folks see you next?
I am so excited to get back into this, especially at such a interesting, I won't say cliffhanger, but moment that Rock God added an exclamation point to.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm just excited to get back into it and to see where this goes, and to kill me some General Blatt, inevitably, probably, hopefully, but we'll have to see. And the fine people on the internet, and only the fine people, which is everyone that watches this channel,
Yes,
will
only
find
the
me.
finest people.
Will find me on this channel from time to time. Esper Genesis, our vocalists,
Yes,
and the occasional co-op game.
yes.
And as well as on my own channel, where I stream a majority of this over the next few days, actually. Tomorrow I have a very interesting stream in store. Over the last few days on my channel, I set a bit goal of 10,000 bits to get my mom to come on the stream and play Minecraft for the first time.
Really?
Yeah. And
Wow.
in a single stream, my community absolutely shattered that goal. So tomorrow, my mom will be coming on the stream, and she doesn't play games.
I was gonna say,
all.
did your mom know that you were doing this before?
Yes,
you
yes,
okay,
she did.
well,
She did. coming on stream, doesn't play games at all aside from, the stuff that I described to her about, everything that I do. And I'll be there guiding her through the game. So that'll be very, very interesting. Yes, Coven Guy did help. So yeah, that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. Eastern. And then the rest of the week I have some, I'm going to do a little like D&D analysis discussion stream on Friday night.
Cool.
And all sorts of other stuff. So twitch.tv/Zac Clay. That's where you'll find me.
Good stuff. Thanks, Zach. Good
Yep.
work today. Also, really good work, as always, from Carlos. I was glad you were able to join us, and that the clapper did not shut down again for you. That was really precious. But I really did. I was very much thinking sort of Warzone, reaction to that as you were going through it, and that was really interesting to me. So. How did my pictures just get turned around? I looked around and all of a sudden you became Kaz, and like, what? How did this happen? You are not Kaz, you are Sleepwell, and you are Aramis.
Oh, that's funny.
You are Petra, and you are Kaz. Now you all stay where you are. Okay. But yeah, no, I really appreciated that, and I thought that was something which, even though we had some laughs in this episode, was a serious moment for Sleepwell. Like, and you could tell that people's reactions. And what I really liked about that was the fact that the reaction of everyone being like, "That's not you, though," like, and immediately knowing what you is, what Sleepwell is, and how that doesn't kind of fit the normal description. So, how'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks see you next?
Yeah, so I mean, it was a ton of fun, and like. What I try to do with Sleepwell is try to imagine sort of like a kid in these situations, and kids just don't have their identity solidified in that same kind of way. And when danger things happen, and they're trying to be honorable and good, they oftentimes do things impulsively that maybe they will learn to regret. So in this case, I think Kaz really did Sleepwell a service if he's going to be thinking about that. So yeah, that was my favorite moment of the episode too, in spite of all the great laughs that we had and the hilarious stuff that happened.
Chef Boyardee.
Yeah. I am going to be hosting some playtests of a role-playing game that I am working on. So one of the things I wanted to do was to invite viewers to direct message me on Twitter if you would be interested sometime this week or next to possibly join into a one-shot role-playing game that I'm working on called Negocios Infernales. So it's sort of like the Spanish Inquisition meets Men in Black is sort of like the way that I'm sort of like pitching it, where
Yep. And we saw this on and we saw this chat.
Oh, yeah.
Because I broadcast a playtest of this, and believe it or not, it was only last month because March lasted forever.
My God.
But it was only last month that we were up at Boscone. So I broadcast this. It was great.
Yeah, and so the game's only gotten better thanks to Johnny. I've been able to get the cards onto Roll20, and so I have a makeshift character sheet that I was able to work out as a handout, and I want to keep testing it vigorously. So if anybody on the channel here would like to maybe participate in a playtest that's coming up, just DM me on Twitter. I think that's the easiest way because I'm not on Discord right now. And just let me know that you'd be interested, and I'm going to start arranging calendar and doing some play testing. So that's one place that you'll see me, and whenever we play again.
Good stuff. Always a pleasure. Stay safe for both Zach, of course, and Carlos, but stay safe, and we will be in touch. Good to see you again, as always, Carlos. Thanks. Moving right on over, it was also really good to see Kat again, and Petra, a lot of not just the sort of holding the door, but there are going to be, as I've said, there are other moments that are coming up for Petra when you folks are in the right areas for them as you get there. But there were a lot of these moments where it was kind of like, I loved the, like, this is where Petra realizes she's the captain. Like, everyone's just like, oh yeah. So there were funny moments like that. But also, I mean, Petra, it seems to me, is always kind of trying to assess, what is a kind of crazy group of sometimes literally herding cats, so to speak, and trying to figure out how to kind of tie them all together while still dealing with what is a very fluid and difficult situation. And so it was interesting to kind of see how Petra was going to navigate that. How did you feel about today, and where will the lovely folks see you next?
It was lovely to be playing again. This is always a lot of fun, and I had missed the game. So it's just, these are some of my favorite people to play with, and we always have a lot of laughs, and it is highly enjoyable. As far as where you can find me, well, virtually on my Patreon, I've been running co-working sessions for people every frickin' day, and we all log in and work together and are having a good time. We're talking about doing a session where actually we all log in and just clean our working spaces at the same time, which
Nice.
seems like that would be fun, or something to do at any rate. So other than that, if you want to find something that I've been writing, I've been working on a serial novella called Baby Driver, which is a retake on the old Doc Savage pulp novels. I used to love Doc Savage, and so this is a reimagining of Doc for our times.
Very cool. That's actually really neat. I remember the old Doc Savage stuff.
Oh, can I pitch something real
Of
fast?
course.
Greg, I'm sorry, I forgot
Please,
about this.
please.
So as you guys know, I do this online school, and Kate Hartfield just put up a class on writing interactive fiction, which if you're interested in game writing, it's super cool. And very generously, Kate has made it free for the first week. So if you want that class, go download it now. It was a lot of fun to listen to the live version, and the on-demand version is super cool. So
And they can access that off of your, like, how do they?
I will stick a link in the chat window
Okay.
while you talk to Johnny.
That sounds good. And you will also be hearing from Kat again next month at some point with the, we think, return. We're talking about this now, but the return of the Rambo Academy for Wayward Writers on Twitch. So you will get a chance to see more of that too. Plus a return. I'm pretty confident we'll get two sessions in next month rather, of Esper Genesis, because we're all at home. So I'm guessing we'll find time, or not at home, but family home, right, Carlos? Some home. But I am pretty confident we'll have a chance to get two sessions in. So I will be putting up scheduling for everybody as soon as I get done with my last committee stuff that I have to do tonight when I sign off. But anyway, very cool. CatRamboTeachable.com, P Writing Interactive Fiction. Very cool. And I might even go and take a listen to that myself, because that would be neat. But thank you, Kat. Really great pleasure as always to have you back with us, and I can't wait to see more as Petra continues to swing an awesome hammer or axe, whatever she wants to call it these days. And last but certainly not least, of course, we have Johnny Pittman. Johnny, also really good stuff out of Aramis too. It was interesting too, because Aramis in this episode struck, and it was really funny because there was so much tension in the last episode that it felt like, in a way, this episode was one where in the world we've all been sort of punched in the gut, and I think that's had an effect on how we play things. But I also felt like that really narratively fit with the game, because it almost was like everyone had this moment where we're all punched in the gut, and now we were like, all right, we got to work together as a team to kind of get through this now. And so there was a lot of that, even with you crawling in to get Saren 5 out, and then going down the corridor yourself into the room and just being like knocking on doors. This felt like a more assertive Aramis here, and I thought that was interesting to watch. How did you feel about today? And where will the lovely folks see you next?
Aramis in this particular episode had gone past his point of being completely angry, and out of just sheer let's get this shit done kind of an attitude at this particular point, because we're facing the realization we're facing off with something that is continuing to manipulate everything around them, so might as well just get right to the heart of it as quickly as possible. That was his motivation. It's really interesting you talking about the whole idea of like the world's going crazy and everybody sort of coming together. I read a New York Times opinion piece by the guy who created Pandemic, and talked about the fact that there's this sort of this resonance of what the game is, and that it's it's all about cooperation and just everybody kind of working together. And it's he made a valiant point about the fact that needs to happen in the world. So just I'm glad that we can represent it here. I'm glad that people are talking about it in the world. All politics aside, if we don't beat this soon, our lives are going to change permanently. So So yeah. Anyways, had a good time. Thanks everybody. It was a lot of fun. Next thing you're going to see me on is not starting this week. Starting next week, there is going to be a new show on Unmade Gaming's channel called Paradise City, which is a City of Mist game. I will be actually being a player, not a GM this time, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's a real change. It's been a while since I've been a new player in a new game, so that's kind of nice. And then this Thursday, I'm going to start doing something for as long as we're in lockdown and in the pandemic. I'm going to run a Tales from the Loop West Marches style game. And we're going to play just for a couple hours, a week. The first episode will be a group of specifically assembled people, and then it will be open signups, and then anybody can join, and we will be playing in a world that is very similar to what we're dealing with right now. And I just want to give people the opportunity to be able to explore and kind of have a conversation about it, but in the guise of fiction and a game where it's a little bit safer and a little bit more sane to talk about the chaos of the world. So that'll be happening 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, starting this Thursday. And it'll be running for as long as we're in the lockdown, and maybe it'll run afterwards. But right now, I feel like the world needs a little bit more of a safe place to talk about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff, Johnny. It's if it's even vaguely like that experience, it'll be one of the pretty striking experience for everybody. Johnny's was really good at GMing that, and as I've said many times, so that does sound really neat. Kind of like Monster of the Week, but Tales from the Loop of the Week, so to speak. And you're right, it really is interesting to see people kind of reacting in different ways. I just very quickly, I was thinking about the end of, oddly, the movie Age of Ultron, which I think is better than people give it credit for. And there's a sequence where Vision's character is talking to the last remaining, I'm going to spoil this for you, but it's been out for a long time, so but he's talking to the last remaining version of exactly, so just deal, but the last version of Ultron, right, the last sort of one that's left, and Vision is just sort of talking to him about it, and Ultron has this thing where he's just like, you realize they're doomed, right? Like humanity is gonna, be destroyed at some point. And so Vision has this extraordinary comment where he says, he's like, I think you misunderstand that although that may be true, he says there's great grace in what they do, and it's a privilege to be with them, which is like a really moving moment, because it is the difficult thing about human existence, right? Is that it's not as easy as just to say like, the hell with all of them. That's just as, useless as the kind of exceptionalist, like, oh, we're the only ones who are supposed to dominate the earth, So I really, that really has stayed with me quite a bit. And I was thinking a little bit about that when you were talking a bit about people coming together and how we actually engage in games of this kind. So, yeah, so it was striking to me to kind of see that, and these games have been, I think, very healing for people. So I appreciate you folks, as I have said to my other players, for rising to the challenge. Good work as well out of chat, and particularly good work for an epically good troll out of Rock God. That was
well,
that
he
was
did
good
ask.
work,
He did ask the right question though. Is it valid? Is his inspiration valid for next game? Did I get inspiration?
I mean, it's past the border of it. I mean, like, so, like I think I would say that it doesn't extend over the month, so probably not. Maybe it's a leap year, right? So maybe 4 years later. Oh man. But anyway, it was a great pleasure, and I cannot wait to have these folks back. Again, you will of course see Zac on our vocalists and on this, and you will see all the other three on this as well next month. So chat, can we get some love for our wonderful players? And players, thank you very much for a great session tonight. Thank you to Johnny, thank you to Kat, thank you to Carlos, and thank you to Zac, and I will see you lovely folks soon.
And thank you to you, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Always my pleasure. Thank you. All right. So that is going to do it for today. Yeah, you'll be here at the beginning. That was really funny, dude. That was very, very good work. I was most impressed. Yeah, that was good stuff. All right, folks. I am going to rise up on out of here because I need to get the last bit of last straggling work on committee work and grading finished, and then finally, as of after tomorrow, I can actually take a breath for a couple of days. I'm probably going to be able to do some revision and writing finally on Friday and Saturday, but before I get more papers to come in. But I'm not going to have everything at once. I'm not going to be trying to get everything online, plus deal with the kids' new structure at home, plus deal with all the midterm grading that I normally would. But like, there's just everything hit at once. So I'm glad to be on the other side of it, but almost to the other side of it. But this was great, and this is always healing. So that was awesome. Yeah, that was brilliant, dude. That was great. It was really funny. I didn't even know what he's laughing at too, because he started laughing, and then I looked over and I saw you inspired. I'm like, I see what you did there. That's good. That's good stuff. But this was great. And again, I want to remind everybody, if you like what you saw and heard, and if you're able to and want to support Alligator Rally Entertainment, again, Brian Dalrymple, who runs the Adventure Game Store in Florida, is going to be able to start doing, as Johnny said, shipments, it sounds like, which is great, of games. And also they're selling gift certificates and stuff like that. And you can use that. It's a fairly big store, so you can use that for shipping. And also if you happen to be in the Florida area as well. But if people are thinking, how can I give back and support to some places, they're definitely someone that you can look at supporting if you want, because they have awesome games, but also because they're the ones who sponsor us here. They're good people. They're the ones who did the Tales and Tomes for Forbidden Library. They're also supposed to be doing stuff with me on Grey Shade. So I like them a lot. It's a small team, and obviously I'm hoping that we all get through all of this okay. So never any pressure about it, but I just wanted to let people know that that's out there as a possibility. Otherwise, I most of all want all of you to stay safe, because I want everyone to be hale and hearty and healthy. We are now in the month of April, at least on the East Coast, and tonight, Wednesday night, will be the first session of a new month that will not involve me. It will be Community D&D with Shadowed Mage, with Rock God, who has no one but himself to blame if the karma comes towards him. Instant karma going to get you. Echo Alpha X5 and Hoodie. They will be playing with Shadowed Mage as the DMs. The Shadow Crew will return with Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. And then later in the week, I will be posting the schedule as soon as I have it. My guess, yeah, it's like Elfo Alka, the Matador of Triumph or something. But anyway, probably Operency is my guess Friday and Saturday. But we'll see. I will think about that, and we'll kind of try to fit that in as best we can. But that is going to do it for me. And we are going to do a raid today. So the way we do a raid is very simple. If you are not a sub, you're going to do this. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch raid. Lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are not a sub, if you are a sub, then you're going to do the Arvanauts have landed, followed by Arvany Hype, ARVANE, all lowercase, uppercase H, lowercase YPE. And let me remind you all that if you are not a sub, there's new stuff coming your way that might make you want to be a sub. Okay, so there's some cool stuff coming down the pike that you will definitely want to check. It's going to be pretty cool. So anyway, but I want to thank everyone for being here again. You can follow the channel, support us by checking out the YouTube with !ArvTube. You can sub to us there. !ArvCord. Join us on the Discord channel. !ArvTweets is my Twitter. ArvanelloRun.com is the website for that. !ArvShop for Adventures of Middle-earth merchandise, Infinity and Beyond merchandise, and soon to be Esper Genesis merchandise. We have got !ArvTreon, which is that Patreon right there, which makes a big difference for the channel. It's how I was able to get things like Kingdoms of Amalur that I streamed earlier today. And then we've also got, of course, and cool stuff for you, including inspirations. And then, of course, we have as well the amazing and awesome crew of the subs, all of you lovely people who subbed and resubbed and gave subs to things and to people. I think we're sitting at about 45, 46 subs again. So we're trying to pull that up above 50 as we go forward. So that would be great as well. So thank you to everyone who made this an awesome stream tonight. I want to thank the wonderful mods, Arudinel, Coven Guy, Rock God, Echo Alpha, X5, sorry, not Echo Alpha X5, who was, sorry, not a mod, Arudinel, Coven Guy, and Rock God. Great job as always. Arudinel, I'm pretty sure, and I think Coven Guy for most of it was, I think Rock God maybe made 2 of these. Arudinel and Coven Guy made, I think, all of them in some form or other. So thank you for being in all these things, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you to my subscribers, Arudinel, Coven Guy, Rock God, Echo Alpha, Nonstop, Arendt, and Mrs. Dunsel. I'm glad that your power held out nonstop. Thank you so much for the support to you and the Patreon supporters. Thank you to 0x. Thank you to Ali Freeborn. Thank you to another TT viewer, X-Man. Thank you to Cat Rambo. I'll come back to the players in a minute. Caesar Campo, Commander Root, Dinu, Mrail, Jagtris, JTW. Thank you to Caton, Light and Passion. What's up, man? Mubot, I guess. Thank you to, let's see, Remastino, Sack the Exchange, Thanen, Trish Metz, You Christensen, V&K, Video Store Cowboy, Virgo Praz, and Zig Cycle. And I saw some new people in here today. So again, I don't normally stream on Tuesday nights, so it was great to see everybody. Certainly not anything other than our vocalists. We usually will not stream on Tuesdays for Esper Genesis, but it just happened to work out this way. So thank you all so much for being here. For the new folks, please consider following and supporting with the Patreon and all that good stuff. And for everyone else, you all know I love you. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will see you lovely folks tomorrow, Wednesday evening, or I guess I should say later today, Wednesday evening, for Dragon of Icespire Peak and the Shadow Crew at, I believe it is 9 p.m., either 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Thanks, everyone. Everyone stay safe, wash your hands, social distance. We got clear of March. We made it through March. Now we're up to April. April's going to be the roughest month, but we just have to hang together, and let's all hang together while we physically separate. Let's make sure that we stay together in this way. Much love. I'll catch all you wonderful people, and I will see all of you soon. Be good to each other. Have a good night.
When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.